Ooh.
All right, Evil Squid Comics Podcast, Season 2, Episode 3. Or is it Episode 3, Season 2? Which goes first?
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, I'm Drew.
I'm Don.
I'm Scott.
And we get together every couple weeks and talk about movies, TVs, mostly comic books, but not really. We really talk about a lot of other crap, too.
It is a lot of stuff. But it's kind
And
of
Scott
nerd and geeky realm.
That's true. Scott just said he didn't read much, but Don read 150 comics, so...
Yeah.
I didn't bring them.
He didn't bring them all, so
I read about
that's
half.
good.
See, my stack is counts as maybe one of his 3 here that he has.
I'm on a crusade, man.
All right.
I'm getting
That's cool.
closer.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's good to have a crusade.
I wanna
It's
get
good to have a
caught up.
mission. It's so funny. So, I actually was completely caught up. I had read, everything. And so I was like, I should read, something old. So I, broke out, some old trades I was going to read. And right as I start...
Key.
What's that?
What's a Lock and Key?
No, that's
Oh,
new. But then... Because I never read book 3.
Really?
I never... Yeah.
Wow. Who did I borrow that from? Him?
Him.
Oh,
Don
damn.
loaned to you. But anyway, so I was starting to read my stuff, and then all these comics that I had ordered came rushing into my house, and then I was behind again. So, because I went to the comic book store and picked up all my orders, so I had all that, and then I had another order that I had placed online to get some trades, and then a bunch of books I had sent off to be bound 6 weeks ago all of a sudden arrived. So I was
Oh, wow.
swimming in
that's
stuff all of a sudden. Yeah, so I don't necessarily have to read that right now. But.
Part of my problem is that I'm just trying to catch up, I think, somewhat on movies I haven't seen for the last 2 years or something. And then part of it is, I got that Jedi Fallen Order as well.
Oh, you got the video game? Zach
Yeah.
got that for Christmas, played it a day, and then never touched it again.
Really? I played it a little bit off
He
and
liked
on.
it,
My
but-
problem is, I struggle with all the other things that I want to do and trying to fit it in, type stuff. Because it is a bit of a time commitment, and I don't play video games as much as I used to either. So it means
Correct.
that
You're bad at
stumble.
them?
Yeah.
I hear that.
Well, it's not even so much that I'm bad. It's that learning curve where, I finally got up there and I know what all the moves do. Okay, good. And then I set it aside and don't get back to it for a week or two. And then I get back and go, shit, what do all these controls do again? And you got to relearn it all. So
I agree.
Yeah,
There's
I just
a
cut
learning
out
curve.
video games.
So it's just more memory than anything.
I don't have video games anymore. I just cut it out. I have to read comics. I have board games. I have painting. I have other crap to do.
I do want to
I don't
play
have time
that.
for video games.
Well, it's not even new anymore, but I do want to play the Red Dead game, the second one.
Oh yeah,
Red
looks.
Dead 2, I hear
Red
a
Dead
really
2.
good thing about that. Yeah.
That's probably an old game now.
I we have that PlayStation Plus where you have to have it to play online or whatever, And so every month they give you 2 free games.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times they're really good. They gave us Last of Us the other day. So I'll download it, I'll play it for 3 hours and then never touch it again.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me.
I can see that.
Because it's a commitment. You have
It
to
is.
keep playing it.
You do.
And I just
But the thing is that if
Don't
you
make
really
time.
play it in quite a bit, and being real regular with it, you could probably finish it off in a
Oh,
week.
yeah.
But that's,
Sure.
if you're spending, say anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a night, playing it, though, as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's a time commitment that I just...
I apparently backed me Kickstarters because I have all these miniatures just flowing in, so I'm trying to get caught up on my miniature painting.
Speaking
And
of
I'm just
Kickstarter,
buried.
did you back the newest Simon one?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I've got that one covered for us.
Well, is it going to be good?
No, it's going to be awful. But
Okay.
it's got Eric Lang, so I have some hope for it.
You were just
So-
banking everything on that Eric Lang guy.
I do bank a lot on Eric Lang.
Which I like
a lot
Eric
of his
Lang, too.
games, So.
But I tend to like his heavier games, like Blood Rage and that
Yes.
kind of stuff. Which I never played Rising Sun.
I don't know. I mean, I
But,
like some of them there,
But yeah, the gameplay looked really simplistic to me.
I think so. I
It
think it's
looked a lot
very
like-
family oriented.
It looked like those Upper Deck games you used to buy. You have, like the Marvel one. What's that called? The one where you Legendary, yeah. Didn't it kind of look like that? Like it's
I would
cooperative,
agree, yes.
and you're playing a villain, except they give you these miniatures. But the miniatures don't really do anything.
No, they're just there to look cool.
They're just there to
and you're
look
really
cool.
just sitting there playing.
It's not like you
cards.
move them around a map or anything,
No, you
because it's
don't.
all card based.
You don't. I know.
So it's really weird.
It
But
is odd.
I was reading an article about it, and they were saying how the people who developed it came to Simon, and Simon's like, "Oh, we gotta kickstart this. We gotta go huge. We need 70 characters." So
Yes, I've seen that too. So
I think there's going to be a ton of stretch goals.
add-ons and
Yeah.
things, yes. No,
So-
I would agree. Yeah, Spin Masters is the other one, and they're known for the 5-minute games or whatever else. So,
okay.
So they are known for a bit of the simplistic type
Sure.
stuff, but they have the Marvel license, and so going in with Simon to try to really boost with a miniature crowd and things.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I'm with you. I think that it's it looks very simplistic. My hope is that it honestly that it would just be a quick game that
Yeah, it
I could
looks
get
fun.
the family to come in,
Yeah.
and just play real quickly, easily, and whatnot. Maybe even with say my parents and whatever the heck
Sure.
else. And you got these cool little miniatures. But you're right, it's not.
The miniatures actually look kind of fun to paint because they're kind of like chibi guys. Or
what I would really love to do is see if they do like a crossover with Starcadia Quest, later
cool.
on or something like that, and say, oh yeah, we're going to throw in a couple of cards for those,
just
But I
depressed
just don't
me.
know if the bases are of the right size though or not.
I forgot the Starcadia Quest is coming too.
Yeah, it should be coming here in about a month.
So I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna have all that to paint. Then I have.
Yeah, but you probably didn't buy as much of that crap as
I didn't buy all the expansion. I just bought the base game. But that
why
still is
would
like
you
40
do that?
miniatures.
Holy crap!
It's still probably like 40 miniatures.
I bought like
I got
all the
Zombicide
add-ons.
Invader totally painted.
Did you really?
I got all the monsters
Wow.
painted too.
Holy, we need to play that. I have
We
not
should.
played that yet.
Should maybe in a week and a half when I have a game night.
Do you paint your miniatures?
Oh gosh, no.
I'll
What?
teach you. You want to learn? I'll give you a crash course. It's really easy.
You can
Okay.
come over to Drew's and you guys could have Saturday paint day.
And probably so.
Yes. Be fun.
Yeah, you never know.
I'll
Just
teach
something
you-
else for me to get involved into.
I know.
I've boiled it down to like the most unskilled paint strategy ever. You don't have to be very good. You just can make them look decent with very little
With
skill.
very little skill.
Exactly,
Cool.
because that's where I'm at. Very little skill.
There you go.
But-
Well, I'm really thinking about it, especially for Starcadia Quest, because of the fact that it actually has like Star Wars characters in this game, and things. I'm thinking, in that kind of little cutesy look or whatever type thing. So it could be really neat.
With the Marvel game, I bought that Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is more like the realistic looking miniatures, and it's like a skirmish game.
Oh, you did buy that one?
I did buy that, so I need to paint that. That's like next on my list, and
Holy shit.
Since I bought that, I feel less compelled to buy the
Buy this one. I
the
can
other
understand
one. But I mean, they're totally different games, but
That is very
they
true.
both have miniatures. I guess.
There
is my
you go.
point.
I mean,
That's
we got
my
to kind of
connection.
divide and conquer here, though. Anyway, probably.
That's true.
So
That's true.
why buy the same game?
That's true.
I did get all my Blood Rage though, extra stuff from that back in that digital version. Did you do any of that at all?
The what was it called?
It was Blood Rage Digital. But,
Oh,
but
no,
they
I did
had
not back
But
the
they had a
digital.
bunch of stretch goals that
physical
gave you
ones.
actual miniatures.
No,
that
Simon
are
totally
really
screwed me.
Cool.
I did that
Okay.
Simon time machine. Wanted to grab some Blood Rage stuff.
Yeah.
And I swear I logged in the minute that it went live, and everything Blood Rage that I wanted was gone.
Wow.
And I'm like, we only had to pay $1, but I still lost $1, so I was a little annoyed. Because there was nothing else that I wanted other than that.
Well, the Rising Sun maybe.
But I don't have Rising Sun.
You couldn't.
You could probably bought the whole thing.
I think you could
I'm
have.
not going to spend $300 on Rising Sun.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
It
I
probably wasn't that much.
I had Rising Sun at one
And
point.
you sold it.
I did sell it, but that's because it
was a
was
3-player.
3 to 5 players, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, how often am I really going to break this out?
That looked almost like a Twilight Imperium type game. Like, not quite that
I don't
long,
think it was that depth,
but
yeah.
it looked like
I
fairly
think it was more diplomacy
involved.
type though, where
Yeah.
you're going to make alliances and break them. So I don't know how well that would go over either.
All right,
But it certainly looked cool.
we've totally diverted into board games, which Don has very little interest in.
Yeah, I apologize, but he mentioned Kickstarter,
I
so
don't. I like
Anywho.
playing a few of them. But
Wonderland
you
War.
guys
Did you
are
look at that one? It
I
started the
did.
same
It
day.
looked all right. It looks like people are excited about it. I don't know.
Yes, they are. It's got cool art.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And
But you
once
like
again,
art,
where the
so there you
miniatures are
go.
very superfluous to the game, it seemed like.
Yeah, it could be. And then
Maybe
they
not
had that
as
whole
much. I guess they had
token
standees
add-on.
where they had
Yeah,
miniatures.
so they had to have something to show your characters.
Sure.
So miniatures actually look like they would make some type of
Some kind of sense.
sense, yes,
Cool.
in that. And at least it's a board, unlike
Sure.
just cards on a
Yeah.
table.
Correct. But yeah, I'm very tempted on the Marvel one because it does have a lot of characters, like a lot of cool characters, like Shang-Chi, and it's got like.
Thanos and his
Well,
crew.
you have to buy the expansion for Thanos. It's another $30.
Oh darn!
That's almost the reason why I got it. I was like, oh, it's only $60. But then you look at all the add-ons, you're like,
Oh, the
that's
add-ons,
what I get
yeah,
you.
it's going to be easily be up to $200 by the time you're said and done. So,
That's crazy.
oh yeah, says the guy who spends that much every week on comics.
It's true.
I'm gonna spend that every week.
Every other week.
Oh, every other week.
Maybe every 4 weeks.
Maybe every month.
Maybe.
Really? Wow. So what do you get? Like 10 comic books a week?
I get a shipment a month.
One shipment a month.
One
A shipment a month.
A month.
It's worth probably about 200.
I don't know.
Okay.
But there's trades in there and art books and other
Yeah,
stuff.
60,
it's true.
70 books maybe.
Okay.
Which brings
For
up.
$200, that's not bad.
So
Getting
I
about
got-
$3 a book or so. Wow.
I got the new previews.
Uh-huh.
What is up with Marvel? Like, I went through. Did you get the new previews? Do you get previews?
I do it digitally, but yeah.
I went through like the Marvel previews.
Uh-huh.
I got like halfway through the book before I even found something that I was interested in. Like all these new books that they're coming out with.
Oh, yeah.
Like none of them.
Well, I don't buy Marvel books anymore. I just do it all digital. Same with DC. I buy very few DC books.
I know, but that was what I'm saying. Like there's nothing. Like even their new event was not.
Oh, you're not doing,
interesting.
what is it, Empire or something?
Yeah, it's like Korean Scroll War
With a
all
Y or
over,
something.
but then they've got the
Who's
whole,
writing that?
I don't know.
Is it Al Ewing? He seems like the hot new dude they're
Maybe.
trying to push.
He kind of is, I guess.
Because they already had Cates do his big event. They had Aaron do the one before that. So.
What did Cates do?
He did
The
Absolute Carnage.
Armageddon. Oh yeah, Absolute Carnage. That wasn't really a big event, though. I mean, it was more of a Spider-Man event.
It's true.
But whatever.
Hmm.
It was. I just didn't
I hear you.
think of it as a big
It was,
Marvel event.
yeah, it wasn't like one of the huge ones.
I don't know.
Are you buying that new Thor book?
Yeah.
That art looks cool.
I haven't
Nick
read any
Klein.
of it yet.
Well, I'm sure you're like still reading stuff
You're
from
still
2 years
reading-
ago.
Yeah, still
Dude,
catching up.
actually, I've got.
You're probably pretty close though now, aren't you?
I pulled one. Yeah, I don't know. I've got about.
Alright, we're just rambling like crazy. Let's
I probably
focus.
have like 2 long boxes left.
Movies. Did we see any movies?
No.
I
didn't see
saw, well, an older one, Brightburn.
Oh, is that any
Evil
good?
Superman. The reviews, I went in with very low expectations.
Well, I hope
and
so.
so because of that, I thought it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It is more like a horror movie and kind of that monster of the week type of horror type thing than really a superhero type stuff. But it moves at a pretty fast pace. It's really pretty damn gory.
What did Gunn have to do with that? Because I thought his name
Yeah,
was on
his
that.
game is on, or his game. James Gunn is involved, and I thought it was like producer or something like
Okay,
that.
so he didn't like
He didn't
write
direct
it.
it.
I know he didn't direct it. I thought maybe he
Yeah.
wrote it,
He
or
might have been credited with some writing though on that.
maybe he did the story and produced it, and someone else
Maybe,
did all
but
that.
I think it was mostly producer type
So.
stuff on there. But it's not. If you go in expecting like a horror type film, it's a fairly decent movie type thing. It's not a great superhero film or anything else of that nature. I mean, it's not the best acting
Neither is
or
Birds of Prey,
dialogue
apparently.
or something.
Apparently,
So,
actually got good reviews. I was
well,
almost
Birds of
excited.
Prey, I've seen that.
Did
as
you see
well.
it?
I did see that.
Scott
So,
saw it.
yes,
God.
like I said, I saw all this type of stuff.
How
Did
was
you
that?
see it?
No,
No.
I haven't seen Shazam.
Okay, so
I've not watched this
I don't
yet.
know
haven't
if
seen
if
Joker.
I'm trying.
I haven't seen Joker.
I don't know.
do
if-
want to see Joker though. Just to see it.
Yeah, I do
I just
too.
want to see
but,
it to see it.
but the fact that it's up for Oscar type crap means I probably won't like it. But anyway, I don't know if I'm like trying to turn over a new leaf after my piss off of Rise of Skywalker or what. You know, my expectations were pretty low, of course, but I didn't mind Birds of Prey, to tell you the truth.
God.
Well, it got good reviews. It
Here's
said
the
it was
thing.
fun.
It
Here-
got good reviews,
It was
but
supposed to be fun.
none of the public went to see it.
No,
That's right.
not that
Nobody
many
critics.
went to
It
see
got critical
so-
acclaim, but nobody went to see it.
I know, and
It did
here
not sell itself.
it's
Is it Deadpool?
Margot
Girl?
Robbie is fantastic as Harley Quinn. And just purely, she's great at it. And she's in it a lot. So because of that, it's pretty good. Now, it tries to be smarter than it really is in some cases where it's trying to do like the little, Tarantino type of feel where things are told out of a little crazy order in some cases, or whatnot, via trying to be like maybe these flashback type stuff, and
Which Joker was
interjecting
in it?
type things. No Joker is in it at all.
It had to be
So-
at least.
No.
This
She
was
broke
my
up with the
boyfriend.
Joker.
I used to be. With
That's
this
right, but they
Joker.
don't show him. So
Figured they'd have at least a flash.
no, they
Oh.
do some flash type stuff, but you see like a hand maybe or something like that. You don't see a face by any means. So
I didn't expect a Joker to be in a movie, but
You know-
at least like flash him up there.
Sure.
Like the
she's.
grilled
I
teeth
tell you
from
what, some of the
Suicide Squad.
action, the choreography that they did for a lot of the action scenes is really good. I mean, and that's what you're going for. Some of this, from a popcorn flick type of thing.
Yeah.
It's fun, like you said. It's a fun film. They got good action.
Moves fast.
It moves at a pretty decent pace. I mean,
hope
it does.
moves at like an hour and 10 minutes fast. Like
No,
it's
it's like
long
an
film.
hour 50, I think. or
Oh,
something
they
like
should have made it an hour 40.
I know. Well, I think that they could have really
With
packed it in
credits.
an hour and a half or something. But
Yeah.
An hour
they,
and 10.
there is some fluff
No.
in there. Ewan McGregor's over the top, so he's kind of funny. The Black Canary's fairly decent. They really don't do much with the Huntress. Overall though, they all do a fairly good job at things. So I can't say it's like the best movie by any means ever, and it's not probably even the best DC movie, but
it
it's.
Might be.
Yeah, it's true with you two. I mean, I did tend to like Wonder Woman, so.
I mean, the Nolan Batman.
Oh God, yes.
Oh, we're not counting those. I'm just counting the DEC.
The DC universe.
Oh, the DEC.
DC extended universe, yeah, because of Batman.
Like I said, my problem is I like the movie overall, but I don't know that I could really recommend it to anybody.
Good.
You can't even recommend it?
I'm just not sure because I know that it's stupid in its own ways.
I thought you were going to be like, it's fun.
But it is fun. It's fun, popcorn thing. And
with me and Drew, you got to come in hard. You're like, this is the best movie
well, see, my
ever.
problem is that I think that you will hate it.
I'm not even going to see it.
He's not really
Yeah, so I think you're going to hate it, but I think you'll probably enjoy it. Like it depends. I don't know how much from an action perspective. I don't know how much you really get into that. And from the choreography of the action type scenes, I thought were really good.
Dude, so
and Harley Quinn, like
it's like John Wick.
Margot Robbie, she just has that.
John Wick's good. I'll eat that shit up all day.
That's what this is. It's like female John Wick.
No, that would be that blonde one.
Comic blonde.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Speaking about horrible DC stuff, so like, I
we just established it wasn't horrible.
Well, according to me, horrible.
Anyway, speaking about horrible DC stuff,
but they had to change the name from whatever the hell it was. Birds
they
of
already
Prey.
Changed the name.
Blah 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 blah. They changed it to Harley Quinn. Birds of Prey.
Oh really?
Yes.
They're worried people don't know Harley Quinn is in it.
Yes, even though the thing said the fantabulous.
But I'm guessing if you're a fan of Harley Quinn, aren't you going to be aware of that movie?
I would think so.
I guess you have casual fans who are like, I love Harley Quinn. I don't know what this Birds of Prey is. Oh, it's got Harley Quinn in it. Let's go see it.
Yes, but the freaking movie, the original title said Birds of Prey and it had blah, 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 Harley Quinn. But I don't know if that was just too
one of the Birds
of Prey. I think she wasn't.
She wasn't. And she's still not.
I guess I don't know. Like, who's the casual fan?
Oh, no.
Like, does your casual fan, like, do they know, like, who Harley Quinn is and if they see it? Are they going to know that she's in that? Or are there really people who are that casual who like Harley Quinn, think it's cool, but just don't have any idea? I just feel like everybody today is so plugged into the internet and everything that you know everything. You know what I mean?
Could be, but
like,
I know my wife would know. She doesn't know jack shit about it.
But she doesn't care about it
But
either.
she knows Harley Quinn.
Yeah, but she doesn't care.
Probably not, but I mean, it looked like
it's not like
it was
she went because you dragged her.
I actually said, "Would you be interested in this movie?" Yeah. So she was actually the one. I did suggest
you brought it up,
but she pressured me to actually go get tickets.
Oh, okay.
So,
but she didn't know about it,
or
she didn't, it was not really on her radar.
I think she knew of it because there'd been freaking commercials all over the damn place.
Would be a good person to ask because she knows of Harley Quinn, but I don't know that she would know of Birds of Prey or if Harley Quinn's in Birds of Prey because she's not really. I mean, I'm not gonna say she's not plugged into the internet, but I mean, she's not like. I don't know. I would assume anyway.
I don't know.
That would be an interesting.
Like I said, I think the deal is like in this day and age, for me and probably the majority of people who watch movies, unless it's like, unless there's a compelling reason to get off your couch and go to the movie theater, it's going to be a hard sell to get most people to go to the movie theater. Because like Star Wars, I feel I have to go see a Star Wars movie because it's going to get spoiled. People are going to be talking about it. I have to go. Right? Marvel movies, same thing. Everybody's going to be talking about it. It's going to get spoiled. I got to go see it before everybody talks about it. So I got to go.
But then there's some that start getting good buzz, like say Knives Out.
Knives Out. I got to get a lot of good buzz, and so I end up going.
And whatever else,
because that's one that like my wife will go see. And that's one that kind of builds. Like Knives Out had that thing where word of mouth. It kind of it had a long run, which doesn't happen very often. But
not as much anymore.
So there's some, but I mean, for the most part, like Birds of Prey.
But there is a lot more of the event film type thing. But Birds of Prey, is there really anything you're going to miss?
Correct. Nobody feels compelled that they got to go see it. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't tie into anything. It's not like it's super established. Nobody likes Suicide Squad, so it's like. Yeah. I mean, if you just like to go to the movies, you'll go see it. But for the people like me who go to maybe 5-10 movies a year, I'm not going to get off my ass and go see that.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand the reasoning there. Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. I'm saying that most people are like me.
Most people are like you.
that they go maybe 5-10 times
You
a
are the
year,
average
and
American.
it's got to be that compelling thing. Like
He's
I'll
got
go
snowmen
see,
in the front yard.
like I'll go see Black Widow because it's Marvel, right? Like I'll drag my family or somebody to go see it because well, it's Marvel and it ties in, and I want to see it, and there's a perceived level of quality there, and it's kind of like McDonald's. I mean, you know what you're going to get when you go to a Marvel movie. It's they're all kind of the same.
Yeah, they do have a little bit of a.
There's a formula
there going on.
So anyway,
So I used to watch like Flash and Green Arrow, like
he's
the
gonna
TV
save
shows.
every one of us.
No, the wrong one.
Yeah, I know. I watched
And
like the
Green
first
Arrow.
couple seasons of Flash.
I tried to hang with Green Arrow. I just got so far
I couldn't get
away
into
from
Arrow.
It was Arrow. I'm sorry, but yeah, it was okay. I enjoyed it, but so anyway, we've been watching the Legends of the DC Universe.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I think that one's pretty good. I like it. It's cheesy, but it's fun. The characters are cool. But anyway.
Is that the one that has the Crisis of Infinite Earths in it?
Well, no. So every year that the show's been on, they've done a crossover.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. But that Crisis of Infinite Earths ran
It's a
through
crossover.
like 5 of the TV shows because now they have Batwoman.
Yeah.
And so
and they got Supergirl or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
It's like Supergirl, Arrow, Flash,
Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. And so we watched the Legends of Tomorrow, and so a new episode popped up, but it was part 5 of Crisis.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched any of the other stuff.
Gotcha.
And so my wife's like, well, let's watch it. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen the other 4. I want to watch the other 4. And she's like, well, does it really matter? And I'm like, well, kind of to me. I'm like, I don't want to just watch part 5. So I'm like, okay, I'll sit down and watch. So I figure out whatever the first step. I think it was Supergirl or I don't know what it was, but I turn it on.
But you figure out the order of them and...
Right. I downloaded like the CW app or something because that was like the only place I could find it. Anyway, wherever I watched it, but I watched it and I watched like 5. That show, whatever it was horrible. Like it was unwatchable, at least to me. I mean, like it had to. It was just so stupid and cheesy. It was just like it hurt my brain and my eyes to watch it. Like they did a thing where they had like they drew the red skies would come up, which is cool. That's like, the red sky is like the comic book, whatever.
Sure.
But they had friggin', what is it, Burt Ward, the guy that played Robin in like the 60s? Like he's walking his dog just down the street and he looks up and sees a red sky and says something, and I'm just like, oh my God. It is like horrible. I don't know. It was.
I heard they crossed over though with the
wretched,
Flashes. They brought the Isra whatever Miller.
Yeah, I know. See, I've heard really good stuff, but I want to watch it because of all the different characters that they brought back and stuff. But man, I just could not get through like 10 minutes of the first episode.
Oh wow!
And like it opened up with like a Batwoman scene where she's like fighting criminals and stuff. It was bad.
The problem is DC fans don't have taste anyway, and so you can't really trust them when it comes to television shows.
And then like, I really stuck with Gotham.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which that was on Fox, but it was cheesy, it was silly, but I really stuck with it, and I missed like the last.
Good things about it.
It's okay. It's like
I kept falling asleep during that show, so I stopped watching.
yeah, and I find myself like
I watched like 3 episodes, and I conked out like every time.
I would do other stuff, and it was on in the background, so I would just like half-ass pay attention to it to get through episodes and stuff. Yeah. But I don't know, man. It was like. I may try to power through them just to see some of those cool cameos and stuff, but man, whatever that first one was, it was bad. It was bad. Horrible.
Sorry.
I probably would have rather watched Birds of Prey.
Should have watched.
I think Birds of Prey looks
Locke and Key.
I did. Okay, so
are we ready to go to that?
We're
Are you sure?
So we're watching Parks and Rec right now, me and my wife.
Oh,
and we've never seen it, so it's our first time.
Parks and Rec
so,
is so good.
When did Lock and Key drop? Was it Friday?
Friday. I didn't even realize it until like freaking Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I get on my phone like Friday morning and I see Lock and Key and I'm like, holy shit. And so like I figured my wife would want to watch it, so I wait all day. I get home and I'm like, let's watch Lock and Key. And she's like, why can't we ever finish something before we start something new? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's
Parks
like,
and Rec.
well, we're watching Parks and Rec. And I'm like,
there's like 7 seasons.
There's like 7 seasons of Parks and Rec.
And they're like 30 minutes.
I'm like, this is now. Like, this just came out. Like, I want to watch this.
Yeah.
She's just like...
Spoilers are going to be out everywhere.
Like, no, whatever. And so then it was like, we did some stuff Friday night, and then we did stuff Saturday, and then Sunday, she like sometime in mid-morning, she's like, all right, fine, let's watch your Lock and Key. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, everybody's talking about it now. There's going to be spoilers everywhere.
Exactly.
Like, we have to watch it. I'm like, oh my God.
But I've read the book.
So, well, yeah, that's what I told her. I'm like, I don't care. I said, I've read the book.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about spoilers. But she's like, yeah, but everybody on this message group, blah, 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 blah. So we ended up, I think we watched like the first 3 is what we got through. But
Yeah. And we did the same. I mean, we watched like the first 3 on Sunday. We watched, I think, like another 3 then on Monday or something. Then we just finished it off, powered through it last night. So,
yeah.
you know, type thing.
Does
Because
it-
they're not
what does
actually
it
that bad
cover?
because they're really only about 45 minutes
Does it cover
long,
like
40,
the
45.
first couple trades?
So this is where it gets really screwy.
It jumps around a lot. I mean,
Well, it jumps around a bit and throughout what the trades did, but overall, it's following about. Oh, yeah, it probably follows about more like the first 2 worth of trades, but then all of a sudden, the last episode goes a little. I found it started to diverge most from the book.
Okay.
Okay, so up until that point, most things are like, they added a key here, or they didn't do this, or maybe this stuff's a little out of order, but they're still grabbing stuff from the books. Then when the end comes, it's like, or that last episode comes, it's like, oh, they took some pretty big turns from the book. You know, it still keeps it within the whole idea and things, but whatever they want to lead into season 2 could be quite a bit different than the book, you know, in some respects.
I was just wondering if they're going to try and tell the same story overall as the book
I
told.
thought that too,
And if it's going to be like 2 seasons.
And so I don't know now after watching that season finale, you know, or the last episode. They could do all sorts. They could go in a lot of different directions from there, because you know, well,
I just finished reading the last trade or the last hardcover.
So you've read it all. So really, if you think about
we
it,
talked about it
Yeah.
Yeah.
a long time
And you
ago.
kept trying to give me the book, and I said, no, I'm going to buy it and read it sometime. And I saw the show was about to drop.
Well,
I'm like, well, I better hurry up and read it.
if you look at the books and everything, think of the, you know, the big, what would you call it, the gate to the dimensions, whatever, the demon type thing. Basically, it shows up, a couple of times in the book. Once because the parents, the older ones, all went to it, you know, and whatnot, you know, and in Unleashed Hell, you know, in some ways, you know, basically got the Dodge character or whatever. You know, you have the revolutionary time when they, you know, went back and they found the thing in the first place, you know, and stuff. And then you pretty much have the climax at the end where they do that. Hopefully not spoiling very much there. At the end of this season, they are at the door and they open the door.
Who is?
Our current teenagers.
Oh, okay.
So, which that's a little, you know, like I say, a little out of place for, especially if they're having a season 2.
Well, I didn't think the
and things
teenagers
like that.
ever even opened the door in the book.
Well,
I mean, they were trying to at the very, very end.
Well, I don't remember. Yeah, that's right. I thought they did slightly open it, but maybe they don't. I don't. That's part of my problem watching it.
It's been too long.
It's
for
been
me,
too
too.
long.
I just read the last
You know, because you read it fairly recent. Okay, I got a couple of questions.
Well, I only read the last one.
Okay, but still, even at that, you maybe can answer it. Could you not kill an Echo?
Echo?
Yes. Which
No, you could.
Dodge originally came out of the well because he was an Echo, because somebody yelled down there for Lucas, and he comes back and whatever else. And then he escapes with the Anywhere key, and he gets going around and stuff. But I thought that he could still be killed in a way, because at one point in time, you know, and you know, I guess spoilers to everybody if you're watching.
Well, I
Walking
thought
Dead,
the mom
but,
Echo
you know,
got sucked. Like, they pulled her out of the well house area, and she, like, disintegrated.
Well, yes, that happens. But if you have the Anywhere key, you can get the hell out of there. And that's how Dodge does. And Dodge then gets out, and then he's doing all sorts of crazy havoc, you know, because he ends up making himself look younger and things, because he finds other keys that can do that. And then, though, it gets to a point, especially in I think the third one, where, and I maybe remember this wrong, but at some point in time, the character of Dodge, his Zach, whatever the hell character, who I'm assuming is still Echo, you know, in a way, or came from the Echo house, you know, and stuff, was Lucas Dodge, whatever you want to call him, / Zach. He goes through the damn ghosty thing. Frickin' Sam comes back, goes into his body, and then they slice him the hell up with a frickin' skate. Or something like that. I think Kinsley, like, kills him. I thought. But
well, like I said, I've only read the last one. They don't have a way to kill him, because once the spirit is like in a body, you can't really kill it. And so the big trick at the end, spoiler alert, is they
so what do they do with Bodhi's body?
What's that?
What do they do with Bodhi's body then? Because he jumps into Bodhi then.
He does jump into Bodhi, and they get around that a little tricky, and we can talk about it when we get to the book. But at some point, they find a way to turn the spirits inside the bodies to turn them back to the metal or whatever. And so then it becomes metal inside the body, and that kind of like frees the body and the soul.
Frees the body and the soul.
Yeah, because when those things come out, if they somehow turn into metal.
They just turn into the metal, and that's what they were using to make the keys. Yeah.
But somehow the main kid figure out a way to turn them when they're in the body, and so there's in the
I think he makes
last
another
book.
key, doesn't he, or something?
I think so. Yeah, he
Yeah.
makes a key that somehow. Oh, that's right. He makes a key that like unleashes it or something, and he like sticks it in them, and then it makes them turn into metal or something.
Is that what it is?
Something like
I can't
that.
remember.
I'd have to-
Well, I just remember
read it.
I remember the fact that
So at the end,
Dodge, basically goes in as a ghost into that ghost world. He gets out of his body. I'm pretty damn sure Sam jumps into his body, and then that's when Dodge jumps into Bodhi's body.
Correct.
And things.
And
And so
at that
then
point-
Sam in the Zeke character or Lucas character, whatever you want to call him, gets killed by Kinsley, and everybody's like, "Yay, we won!" Well, unfortunately, he's in
Bodhi's
body.
and Bodhi's floating around the house as a ghost.
And Bodhi's floating around, exactly right. And then I know how that all happens, type things. He gets somehow into a pet or something like that. And
Yeah, well, there's a thing
yeah.
where like some bird
So-
decides to go in, and so he takes over the bird's body, and then
body,
he goes
then he
into the
goes to the
thing that can
animal
change
one.
an animal
That's
into a
right.
person and changes
Yeah,
back into
yeah,
himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it all works out,
Yeah.
which is okay from that perspective. Ties up things.
Sure.
I think that's. We could talk more about it when you talk about the book or whatever else, but I guess that was some of my things. Is there's a part in the series in which Ellie is a little different because of the fact that Ellie's being controlled, by Dodge / Lucas, whatever you want to call him, and throughout the book, she just looks like she's always miserable, like she's stoned, whatever
Who's
the hell
Ellie?
else. Ellie is one of the six original.
She's the one who was in love with Dodge.
Yes, exactly
when they were
right.
Teenagers.
In love with Lucas when they were teenagers, and she's the one who has the.
She has the kid who has the
kid with
mental
special needs. Yes,
special needs.
yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So she's got that kid, but I remember throughout the book, type things. At least when she's alive, that Dodge is just using the shit out of her. Just kind of abusing her or whatever else.
Correct.
In this one, she's got a little bit more of a backbone, but she's more just afraid of Dodge, in some respects. And so that's pretty heavily throughout. I think the fact that they use the mother a hell of a lot better than I felt the book did.
In the book, she's alcoholic, and
she's an alcoholic and she's useless. In this, she does have the alcoholism, and she has some parts of that, but she's almost playing more of a character that can sometimes be, though, a bit of a consoling of the kids and whatever else.
Gotcha.
She's definitely there more for the kids than I felt like she was.
She's more helpful.
Yeah.
In the book, she's pretty useless.
But they do jump around quite a bit. You are right there. They're introducing different things, and it moves pretty fast in some cases. They tweak some other stuff up, but overall, I kind of liked it, except for and I read something too where they admit it. The book itself is like young adult horror almost in some ways. I mean, it's really that fine edge of a horror book. It's in a lot of respects. The horror aspects in the show are really reined in a bit more to make this more of almost like a supernatural, type of perspective. Right. In heavy, a whole lot heavier towards the young adult side. I want to say, I mean, it really concentrates a lot on your three kids. Bodhi, was it Kinsley and Tyler, I think, or whatever. Yeah. It really concentrates a lot on them. But that's part of the thing too. Is I felt like the actors they got for him. I mean, that kid is Bodhi. I mean, he acts just like the kid in the book.
Yeah.
Interesting what they do with the head key type things. That's one of the more amusing, things out of the book somewhat. Because it's like horror, but / I don't know if I should laugh or be scared. Whatever. When they take the top off. They do it a little differently in this. Have you got to that part?
Well, I got to we watched the episode. The last one we watched was when Ellie goes in and drags her fear out
Okay, so you can
it's-
kind of see
so
the
it's
head
only,
key
but
type
yeah, the
stuff,
kid Bodhi uses it like in the second episode.
Yeah,
or
okay.
whatever.
I
He's
couldn't
got,
remember
like,
which one in there.
got,
Like I
like,
said, that was probably one of the things that I found the best about this is Netflix shows typically have a lot of, I don't know, they have those episodes down, and this does, I do admit it, but it felt like it still moved at a pretty fast pace overall, you know, and really trying to jump to hit certain plot points. But so overall, I'd recommend it. I liked the show. It's different enough from the book, but yet it keeps a lot of the similarities. It is a tamed down. I mean, if you're expecting to go in there to see the blood and guts and see, you know, people dying all the time, well, not to that extent. I mean, there's going to be some deaths here and there, but it's not quite as maybe as it tries to be as smart, I want to say, as the book, but it's not, because it's kind of a little bit dumbed down because it wants that, I don't want to say stupid age things, but it wants a younger, you know, demographic, I think, in some respects. So.
Yeah, the book's pretty violent.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't pull many punches in a lot of respects. And...
No, John Lucas had posted something about the show, and he was like, I haven't read the source material, but he's like, the show's good. He's like, he said something about, why would you want a direct adaptation? Because everybody's saying, oh, it strays from the book.
Right.
And he goes, as long as they get the feel of the book and the gist of the book in the show, then everybody should be happy. And I agreed with him. I was like, yeah.
I totally agree.
And I think they did.
And I would agree.
In the first 3 episodes I watched, it really felt like they had the gist of the book, like the feel of the book. I mean, and I don't want to watch a direct adaptation of the book. I mean,
some people do, though.
Well, I know some people do, but I mean,
I thought
if you really love the book, and then you obviously it's going to go out to a wider audience, you want to be the exactly.
And I don't know. I mean, that's my problem with this one. Is that I feel like because of the fact of trying to take this, I thought they did very well trying to take that type of information, whatever you want to say, that type of story, and put it over to a wider audience. That's what I think. I mean, they're trying to get it out there to get a real large gamut of people, and I think they did very well taking something that has a really cool idea and really bringing it in to the small screen.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop there.
Cool. All right. You ready to do like your billion of reviews? You got to tell me about this letter to Joe.
Oh, you have to read it, dude. It's awesome.
Is it really?
It's
okay.
so fucking good.
Okay.
All right, so let's do some comic books. We're going to talk about Letter to Joe, since we both read that.
You both read it, huh?
You can take it if you want to read it.
I will take you up on that one.
Yeah, you can have your copy, not mine.
Is it signed?
No.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
So, Letter to Joe. This is a book by Joseph Saraki and Kelly Williams. It's a World War II book, right?
It is.
So the gist of the book is Joe Saraki, his grandfather, was in World War II, and he wrote a letter to his wife who was waiting at home. I guess it was his fiancée. They weren't married yet. But he went off to World War II, he got engaged, and he wrote a letter to her kind of describing his experience. And so Joe Saraki, his grandson, found it and decided, hey, it'd be cool to turn this into like a sort of memoir graphic novel. And so he got Kelly Williams, who we like a lot, to basically do the art in it. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a great World War II book, I thought. Yeah. What did you think, Don?
I liked it a lot. I mean, obviously I'm a big fan of the Kelly Williams art, but I was really impressed with the story. The story was really pretty good. I mean, it gets bloody.
It's pretty brutal.
It gets kind of brutal.
It is war.
It is World War II, but I was surprised that it kind of went as far as it did. I mean, not that I don't know. I was impressed with the story. I knew I was going to love the artwork, obviously, but the story really impressed me. It was engaging. It was interesting. It was cool. I mean, it is a war story.
Man,
and I mean, they really depict. He really depicts. Like, I wanted to talk to Kelly and ask him, like, what was the script like? Like the descriptions of like the trenches and like the cities and the battles and stuff. Like, did the writer do a lot of that, or did Kelly have to do a lot of that visual research? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it really, I don't know. I was impressed with it. Really, I don't know. It was just when I first heard about it, like the story was not even like a part of anything. It was the artwork was the only reason that I was interested in the project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Just follow Kelly on Facebook and Instagram, and when he was doing it, I mean, he was posting pictures of it, and he was I talked to him about it, and I mean, it's been a while. I mean, the project took a long time to get off because I think
it took a long time to
originally they were going to do
publish.
like a Kickstarter, and then they didn't know, and then it got picked up, and so I mean, it's been a while. So I mean,
Yeah.
But no, I was really, really, really impressed with the finished product, especially the story and even the writing. And I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm not like a historical
Buff.
buff, but I mean I don't know everything, but from
Student
what
of history.
student of history, but I mean I've read stuff, I've listened to stuff, and I mean it seemed pretty good. The
Historical accuracy.
not necessarily historical accuracy, but like being in the trenches, you know, like
Over 2.
yeah, whatever. From what I've learned about, like God, I can't even speak on a podcast in the words.
You're bad at this.
The depictions are of like the trenches, you know, where they're in the trench for like a week, you know, and you get the foot rot, and you know they were tramping through all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that maybe it was in his letters too. But anyway, I was impressed. Really,
Sounds like it.
A lot. It was good. I can't speak, but
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because you know he gets there right after Normandy. Like when he gets deployed, it's like Normandy has just happened. So he's like, you know, I always thought
they're
Normandy
actually
was
walking the beach like
after the battle,
and there's still bodies laying everywhere.
So the grandfather wasn't at Normandy. He like came like I don't know a week after or the next day or whatever, you know. But it was interesting because I always thought like once Normandy happened, it was fairly all downhill from there. But watching.
God, no.
But I mean, that's because I'm stupid. I don't know my history. But reading this book, I realized, oh no, they still had to like. That was just like the beachfront, and they still had to go. I thought Germany was pretty much done by then, but apparently they still had quite a bit of resistance left that they had to fight through and get through. And you know, that was just a foothold. They still had a lot of.
Yeah, I was thinking Normandy more than anything else was kind of almost a bit of a surprise type thing that they didn't think would actually happen. And So then, when the forces were so massive and things, they were still trying to maintain their foothold there. And, in a lot of those countries, I mean. Part of the bigger problem was the fact that they were they were fighting the war on. They didn't expect to be fighting the war on another front. He was still trying to screw with Russia and probably even a bit of Africa. And then when we all came into Normandy, it was like, what the fuck, you know, type thing. And
totally.
Then they had to come back around and reassign resources. But they weren't going to take Russia as it was anyway. But then Russia came alive, you know, and said, well,
they were never going to take Russia.
Yeah.
It's impossible. But yeah, no, I agree. So anyway, it was interesting, and I thought, I don't know, it's fun to watch Kelly develop as an artist, you know, because we've seen his early work and as he has continued to kind of do more stuff, and it just, I feel like everything I see by him is like a little bit better than the last thing.
His colors are just...
Yeah, he's gotten really good with his colors. And
his coloring is
it's
awesome.
very...
But yeah, there's some really brutal, you know, gunfights, battle, war scenes that not necessarily brutal, but graphic. I mean, you know, that's
There's
the way,
blood.
it's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that guy, Joe, or it's not Joe, the woman's name is Joe.
Correct. It's a letter to Joe.
Right. Man, he really got lucky. I mean, he's like one of the only guys that made it.
Yeah, like
from his
like,
original group.
But I get the feel that happened a lot, too, you know, in those different, at least, regiments and things of that nature that they had out there. I mean, you basically, from what I've read, you know, a lot of those cases, you may have had a regiment of like 15 to 20 people, and you're getting like 2 of them that are coming back from these things.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know,
yeah.
So.
But no, it's a cool concept too. Like I said, I mean, when he first started working on it and posting stuff, like I was talking to him and asking him questions, you know, like online or whatever, and I I never even really thought of the concept. I just wanted to see the art. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to see it. I didn't care about story. I didn't care about anything.
It looks really good.
And I didn't pay attention to it, but I was just really impressed.
Yeah, it came
With
together really
both.
well. It was a good story and art
Yeah.
package, and it just kind of felt really good.
I was expecting it to be a so-so story and just great artwork. But
Yeah, to be honest, when I first heard about the story, I was like, it sounds okay.
Right.
But I mean, the art
Exactly.
was cool. But yeah,
Right.
the story was really good too. And maybe that's because the art was so good. You know, the art definitely helps the
It
story,
does, it
obviously.
does,
You know,
a
I
lot
mean,
of
they
times.
they work in tandem.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish it was more like I don't like the format. I wish it was like a hardcover and slightly smaller, like more
Yeah.
like a novel. You know, like some of those cool like artier books. You know, have like the slightly smaller form factor, but it's like a hardcover and just feels a little thicker.
yeah.
So, but
It's-
being bigger is nice because you can see the art better, obviously.
Yeah, I just
But
wish it would have been a hardcover. too.
hardcover would have been nice.
Yeah, it's been getting good press too.
Yeah, I
It's
think
been
so.
on a few lists like
Yeah.
must reads and stuff. So
Sure.
I don't know. It
Maybe we'll get nominated for an Eisner.
it could be his. Maybe he'll get his,
His
breakthrough.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But then he'll get too big for us, and he won't come to
Nah.
our shows anymore.
Yeah, he probably will.
Nah, he won't.
But yeah,
Anyway,
totally.
yeah.
We can say
well
we knew
deserved.
him win. But yeah, no, it
That's
really
right.
came together good.
Well
I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was fun to finally get to read it because I've been kind of hankering for it for like a year and a half. Because like I said, I follow him too, and I see all the pages and
you see
everything,
that stuff. And
all the art.
Yeah.
And you're like, when I want to see it all come together
Right.
like a book or whatever.
I
you
do
know?
admit that since the last AirCap Con or whatever, I've followed him on Facebook there a bit too, and
Yeah.
see a lot more of what he's got coming up.
Yeah. Sweet. Excuse me.
All right, that's kind of a duel. So I think Scott needs to do something.
No,
even though he
no.
doesn't have much.
Me and my two, go for it, Don.
You and your two.
All right.
And I talked a hell of a lot about Lock and Key, which is almost
True.
like my own,
I'll do
there.
Space
Sweet,
Bandits.
everything Don's talking about, I've read.
Oh, you read Space
That's
Bandits?
good.
Yeah, I like
You read the
Space
whole
Bandits.
thing?
I did read the whole
Did you
thing.
read? Did you read Sharky?
I didn't read Sharky.
It ties in at the very end.
That's cool. Is it in the same
Sharky.
universe or something?
Yeah. Well, you saw the end, right? The
Yeah.
last page. That's
Is that Sharky? Oh, I didn't catch that because I
Yeah.
didn't read Sharky.
So now the Sharky, the bounty hunter, has been hired to go and find these
Oh, nice.
two. So yeah. But anyway, so Space Bandits. So you want to
Space
tag team it or?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. So it's basically, if I remember, it's basically
It's Mark Miller. Or
it's
Millar,
there's
or-
this lady and she's
Is
like
this more
in
of
a-
his Netflix type of thing?
Yes, it is Netflix.
Okay.
but it's Mateus Scalera,
He does
art.
Black Science.
the guy that did Black
Oh,
Science. So the
okay.
art is
Good.
awesome.
Art's awesome.
And it's only 5. Is it his stuff normally 5 or is it 6?
5 or 6. Just
It's
depends on
5
the
or
story.
6. Just depends on how
It
he
seemed
feels the
odd that it
story's
was
going.
only 5.
I think Empress was like 7.
Yeah.
Was it really?
But so one of the main characters is she's a
Professional thief.
professional thief. She's in a group and she hires these people or group that she works with and they're doing like one big last heist or whatever.
Oh, of course. It's always that
But
type
she
of thing.
gets screwed over.
Yep,
One
they
last
fuck her
time.
over.
They fuck her over.
And she gets thrown in jail and they get away with all the loot.
Right, they get away with all the loot.
And she's like the brains of the operation too, so it
Yes.
really sucks because she like planned the whole thing and then she gets totally screwed.
Yeah. So then she gets out of
Well, then there's another girl, right?
right. I'm
And
trying
she
to-
like is like a con artist, and she's kind of the brains, but she has like this boyfriend, and he's a total waste of space, and he throws her under the bus, and she takes the fall, and she goes to jail, and he gets off scot free. So both of them basically got screwed by the men in their life, and they're
Right.
like the real master criminals, but they keep getting hosed. So anyway, they go to prison and they meet each other.
and then
They hatch a plan to break out
they
and get
plan
revenge.
to break out and get revenge.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty good.
And so they break out, and then they systematically go around and get all the people who screwed them over, and like basically
And then
get
that-
revenge.
The second girl, she hooks back up with that guy.
Oh,
He,
I know.
Like, cons her again.
I know, she's so stupid. Oh my god.
It's so stupid. It's like he left her, and then
Yeah.
so he's like running this other
Oh.
scam with this
Like a-
some
she's like a queen
or-
of something,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's like rich or in society, high in society, but she like eats people, like
Yeah.
drinks their blood, and it's like weird. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, baby, I was just doing this, and I was gonna." Or he goes, they pulled me, they kidnapped me before I was supposed to meet you, because they were supposed to meet back up after the last thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. And he was like, yeah, I got kidnapped and now I'm working this other scam, but I still love you.
Yeah, she totally falls for it too
Falls
until he
for it.
screws her over again, and then finally she figures it out.
That was great
Oh
at the
my
end,
God.
though, when he gets his...
Yeah.
When he gets his...
It is nice when he finally gets taken.
But,
But yeah, no, it's fun. It's like the art's really good because it's Mateo Scalero, and the story just moves really fast. It's
Yeah.
fun. Characters
It's-
are fun.
Yeah, it's just like a Mark
It's a
Miller.
Mark Miller
It's
formula. He's got
So
a
does
formula.
it have like a twist then at the end or whatever?
Is there a big twist?
No,
There's not
really.
like a super big
Well, I
twist.
guess maybe that guy's... But you kind of... Maybe that guy screwing her over would be the twist at the
I
end.
guess so, but you kind of saw that coming.
You kind of see it coming, but you didn't know for sure.
I
You know
guess.
what I mean?
It doesn't have a big twist like it usually does.
No.
It's-
Okay.
It feels a little more like
I think
Straightforward there.
I think
kind of.
sort of the... Not really a big twist, but maybe a bigger... is the cliffhanger that it
Sharky's
ties into
coming.
Sharky,
Oh, okay.
because I read Sharky, too.
See, I didn't buy
read
Sharky.
before I
because
read
I don't
that.
care for the artist on Sharky.
Oh, man, that's Simone Bianchi.
Simone Bianchi, yeah, that dude's crazy.
So good.
I don't love his art, and just in person, he's kind of a weirdo.
Well, he's Italian. He's
Yeah,
like
he's a little strange.
he's what do you call it?
I mean, he's fine, but
he's
I just
a
don't.
classically trained.
I don't really care
like,
for his art.
Italian painter.
But I'm
that
glad
somehow
that
found
you
his way into comic
comics.
books.
I hear you.
And he was gone for a long time.
Dude's
and
kinda
he came
cuckoo.
Back. Well, he's an Italian classically trained
An
artist.
artist who works in comic books, so
Painter.
he clearly is cuckoo.
I think he makes most of his money on painting.
I'm sure he
painting
does.
That's probably
comic
true.
books.
Yeah.
Because he really did disappear for a while.
Did he?
He was pretty big. Like when we went to
You just
Yeah.
gonna pull that one out and talk
when
about?
we went to Sharky.
I can't find it.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. If
I'll do it. I'll do a quick one. I read Plain
Oh,
Jane's.
yeah, here it is.
Did you buy Plain Jane's? Jim
No.
Rugg? No.
No, but I am. Is this new? This has been around for a while, hasn't it?
So they put out 2 volumes of Plain Jane's through that Minx imprint that DC was doing for a
Almost
while.
looks like Paper Girls, the cast of Paper Girls.
And
This is
so,
pre-paper
so this
girls.
is those 2 volumes, plus they did a new volume all together in one. So it's basically 3 stories, and Jim's such a cool design guy. The first story is in blue, second story is in pink, and the third story is in like a teal or whatever. So
It's green.
So it's- isn't teal and green like the same?
Teal's
thing?
like a blue, isn't it?
It's a blue-green.
Sure.
But anyway, so I didn't read the first 2 because I'd already read them, so I just read the last one. And yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's I'm definitely not the target audience. It's really aimed at probably like a preteen girl type thing because it's about these girls, and they have like a group, and they're all of them. Their name is Jane, and
This
they're
is
like,
right up your alley, though, dude. I mean,
yeah.
are they not getting braces? Is
This-
that,
No, they're
Slice
not.
of
They're
life.
definitely not
Is that
getting
why-
braces.
is that why you didn't like it?
And so they're like they're slightly older than that, so
You're
it's
never
not
gonna
quite
live
as
down
appealing.
Smile.
And dude, I was on the cusp of that. Raina Tegelmeier is like probably the best-selling comic book artist on the planet right now, and I was on the cusp, dude. I was the first one.
You were the first teenage girl to read Smile.
Exactly. So don't even, dude. I was on the cusp. But anyway,
You
Plain
usually
Jane's.
are though. I try to judge
this
what's
group
gonna
of
be
Janes-
hot by what Drew
They're
buys.
super into like art, and so they form like an art collective, and they like do like all this like street art, but then they work with the government, the local city government. They get like their park where they can do art, and so they're super into art. So it's really about art and expressing yourself in different ways to do art and make it like And so the one main character, she's super into. Like, she wants to go to art school, So it's just kind of like girls in high school, into art type of thing. But
So-
it's all right. It's entertaining. It's well done. Jim Rugg, obviously, is a
Yeah.
great storyteller. So, I mean, he keeps it moving pretty good. And visually, it's very...
Visually,
easily
I bet you it's
digestible.
really pretty good. Yeah.
So, I mean...
This is the new book that he's
Correct.
talking
Yeah,
about, right?
exactly. Yeah. So he spent like a few months, probably like a few months where he drew this last book to go into this, trifecta of 3
Gotcha.
stories together. And that, and they got a pretty good publisher. Little Brown, I think, I think they're a pretty big name
Never
in
even heard of
publishing.
them.
They publish a lot of books.
Gotcha.
But anywho, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like I say, I'll buy anything Jim Rugg does, even if it is about teenage girls doing
I
art in
understand.
high school. But yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Like I say, I don't think
Once I get caught up in my
I'm not quite the target audience.
Or I might buy a copy.
I'd much rather read more Street Angel, but it's just what is he going to make? Then I guess that's what I'll read.
Right.
What is Pisker doing now?
He's doing
some weird horror book or something, right?
Yeah, I think he really got caught
Like
up in
Red Room or something.
I don't know what it is, but I think he got caught up in the whole, what do they call it, the outlaw stuff? Like the Vigil.
Okay. So
Because if you look at it, it's really...
He's trying to do something like that.
Yeah, he's trying to do like an 80s outlaw,
Okay.
black and white, gory, over the top horror.
Gotcha.
What I understand.
Gotcha. But yeah, he hasn't been... I'm not real clear on what it is.
I don't know.
Other than what you just said.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
All right, Sharky.
Oh man, you made him dig out Sharky?
Please.
I wanted to do Middle West. We've all read Middle West.
I can do that.
Well, you can do that one next.
Well, Sharky's not. So basically,
Sharky's like only like 5 issues.
Is he a space bounty hunter?
Yeah, he is. He's kind of like a Lobo character, but this is very much. Now
really?
that I think about it, it's very much like the Mandalorian, because
thought it
he's
was
like.
like Lobo.
Except with crappy art.
Oh my God, Simone.
Actually, this
Bianchi.
art is pretty
His
cool.
art is very cool. His art is
It's
awesome.
not my style.
The Mandalorian.
it actually is pretty good.
So it's
So, I
kind
mean-
of got a little bit of a Western vibe.
I take it
there.
back.
No, it's more of the.
Simone Bianchi's awesome.
Or a
Yeah,
bounty
exactly.
hunter.
I don't know what your
It
problem
does say
is.
Sharky the bounty hunter, so I guess
This
that
is
would-
better than his Marvel stuff.
Yeah. No, and I mean that in the way that, like, I don't. So this is like 3, 4, 5, and 6. I read 1 and 2 a long time ago, but
I don't remember you talking about this.
it's basically he's a bounty hunter and he ends up with a kid, a girl.
Oh,
Is he like Dog
And
the Bounty
so-
Hunter, but in space?
Yes,
No,
exactly. Like
it's-
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
it's like the
in space.
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
in
well, I
space.
mean, because there's a kid involved. That's all I'm saying. And so
So there is a kid involved?
Yeah,
It's like Lone Wolf and
he-
Cub?
yeah, it's kind of like a Lone Wolf and Cub Mandalorian in space. And so, I mean, basically, it's this. It's more of a kind of a screw over story too. There's like this
This looks pretty wordy for Miller.
bounty.
Or Kindergarten Cop or something like that, or whatever else.
Dude, you know what? I didn't bring. You know what is wordy as hell? That
Just
was
look at this. Does not look appealing.
terrible.
Too many words.
The last arc of
It's Mark
Thief.
Miller. Come
I
on.
don't love... I know, he's not usually that wordy.
The last arc of Thief of Thieves.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That was bad.
It was.
like pages of
Yes.
text.
Who
It
is
was.
that dude?
And that story
they,
is too complicated.
Oh,
I know.
It's just fucking
Do
stupid.
we really need like? I
Dude,
didn't
did you
need
really need to take that
6
tangent?
friggin' issues to set up this heist? They could have done it in 2.
And there's these two brothers who are like oil barons. Who are like the
Yes.
rich ones.
And they each had
had
to
some type
log
of
in.
weird freaking.
It's so
you know,
convoluted, and you're reading it, and
weird
your mind just
software
like numbs
yeah.
out, and you don't even know
I'm
what's
just
going
like,
on.
I
But you don't
didn't-
care. You just
yeah.
power through,
You
and it's like
wanna
I just
get
want to be
the
done.
end.
Oh,
Yes.
I cared. Like I almost
Really?
stopped. Like,
I just
Well,
went
no, I
through
did
it
too. I
and-
just powered
and I
through,
just
but-
kept going.
but I
Because I
did.
like
I
Thief of
powered
Thieves.
through.
I did too.
Oh my God,
did
that
like
last
it.
I just really
guy-
don't care about the story because
That last
No.
arc was not very good.
Oh, it was
It
horrible.
was the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know how that book went from really good and it slowly went this,
I
and they
don't
just
even-
dived off the cliff on that last arc.
I don't even know who that guy was that wrote the last.
It wasn't
arc.
Asmus?
No, it was somebody I'd never even heard of. I'm
Kinda
like,
curious
are you
now.
just
I'm
trying to
gonna look it up.
splash your name? 'Cause- Oh my God, it was bad. But anyway, so Sharky is
So now
like,
that you got rid of Drew, you're gonna
Right.
go
I don't
talk
really.
about Sharky.
I don't really remember exactly how the story goes. I just remember there was like this big.
Lewis.
Yeah, have you ever heard of him?
No.
No.
And you
Probably never
won't.
again. Like the worst.
Did he have like some dirt on Kirkman? Hey, Kirkman, let me write your last arc. I got a great idea.
But there's this bounty.
Kirkman quit, right?
He's a
So
bounty
after,
hunter,
a
and there's like
second
this.
trade.
I
Didn't
don't
he?
think, did Kirkman ever write it? I think he always did
I
it.
thought he
Maybe he
wrote
did the
that
first one.
Right.
But then he had like writers
Look
come
what you
in.
did. We're just like interrupting this
Yeah.
shit
So
because
that
but
was
you
Sharky.
started that tangent.
Now we'll.
But Sharky is the the bounty hunter, the guy on the run with the kid, guy with the heart of gold type of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Any big twist at the
comes
end?
around. Well, sort of with the bounty, but I don't remember what it was. There was like this big bounty that was like the biggest.
Are the
bounty
space
in
bandits
the
in
world.
it at the end?
No, they're not. But
Oh.
that
But
green,
this Yehu
the green
is-
creature at the end, the green girl. That's the girl, kid
Yeah.
or whatever. That's
Baby
at the
Yoda?
last page of
Space Bandit.
Space Bandits, and you can see Sharky in the back.
So when they do the Space Bandit Sharky crossover, will Simone Bianchi draw one page and Mateo Scalera will draw the next
That
one?
would be really cool. Do like a Image United
That would
thing
not be
where
cool.
where
Their styles don't mix at all.
where
That would be
Mateo
true.
would draw all of the Space Bandit.
Well, I tell you what, if they do a Sharky Space Bandit and Simone Bianchi draws it, I'm out.
You just said that the art was good.
It is, but it's also not.
You gonna talk Middle West?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Go for it.
I got caught up.
I
on
know this one a
Middle
little bit.
West. Have you read 14.
No, we've only done
Probably
the
not
first
quite there,
two
but I bet you
arcs.
we. So
Well,
we
we're
probably
up
got
to 10?
10.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
probably
only
up
up
to
to
10.
10?
Ten
We
to
got the
12.
trades, yeah.
Oh, you buy trades.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
what?
we read that one with
That's
the
the one
father
with
who's
his-
like father
the
crazy
grandfather?
dude, yeah.
Yeah. Who's
And then
like
the next one we read
Northland
where they
and
end
a
up
real
at the camp
asshole.
where they're like slave labor,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
where we stopped. We didn't really get into the camp too much.
Yeah.
So maybe issue 11 or 12.
So they did 11 issues in a trade?
Well, there's
Two trades.
I don't
Yeah.
know how it was broken up.
Okay, well, anyway.
I would
I'm
assume
up
that
to-
you actually got up
Jesus.
to 12, but
I'm up to 14.
you're up to 14, so you're a little bit ahead of us.
Yeah.
What do you think of it, though?
It's
You're-
good.
you're
Well, I
digging it?
liked it. I was the one, I read it before any of you guys did.
Really?
And
Wow.
I did. I read the first couple issues and I brought it in and showed it to you guys, and you were like blown away by the artwork. And I was talking about the artwork.
That probably would be true. I do like.
I started the Middle
I do
West.
like the Middle West artwork.
I started the Middle West train, sir. I just fell off in the middle, and now I'm ahead.
And now you're beating us
I
again.
was always going to pick it up in trade.
I know.
It's like you sold me on it or
Well,
something.
no, but I'm saying I was the first one to talk about it. I brought in the artwork. I brought in the
But
book.
you're digging it. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I
it
think-
seems to. How's this art going here at the prison camp or whatever?
It's good.
It's good.
I don't
Okay.
remember what you guys read up to, but
No, it's
They
okay.
just got to the
They
prison
just
camp.
got there.
okay.
I call
Yeah,
it
they
prison
spend-
camp. I don't know what,
What
it
is it? It's like
Oh,
they're
it
making
is.
these kids pick like weird
Yeah,
plants
but-
or something.
Yeah, well, it's the
Like
fuel.
pink glowing fuel.
Yeah, it's all the fuel because they talk about. Do they talk about like the safety at all?
Yeah, he
So,
and I think he kills some
Well,
kid.
Of course, there's
Yes.
an accident.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He's
But,
like,
uh,
see?
I do
But
vaguely remember that.
I think at the end of 14, he's finally had enough of the shit and he's ready to.
He's about
start
ready to
his- 'cause-
explode, huh?
Well, because what happens is they like the main guy comes to him and he's like, because I think one of the guys dies in an accident and he saves him or puts him out, but he's like, anyway, he comes to him and says, I want to promote you to be the foreman, so I'm going to pay you, like, I'm going to hire you on and you'll get paid and you can run a crew. And then his little crew of people, of friends that are there are like, well, you're backstabbing me and blah, blah, blah. Or, why would you work for him? And he's like, because, man, if I get on the inside, then that's how we get out. So he's like planning a power and then try to
Yeah.
get away.
Cool.
But no, I mean, the whole world, the story, everything, I mean, the artwork.
You're enjoying it?
The artwork is just
really
blows me
is.
away.
It's good,
but
isn't it?
but Scotty Young doing the writing, I mean, the world that they've created is great. I mean, it's almost like it's kind of like I hate Fairyland, but like a more serious, and obviously
Oh.
not as bloody
Yeah,
and gory and all.
It's funny
because
because he did all the Oz books. I hate Fairyland,
Right.
and then he's got this book which is kind of in the middle.
in the middle. Yeah,
It's
it's
like, I hate
the Wizard
Fairyland.
of Oz
It's not
and
quite
I
as
hate-
funny, but it's like more serious than Wizard of Oz. But like,
Yeah,
yeah,
Which-
it's interesting.
I don't know if
It's like
I
a
can.
shtick.
I don't know, but I was talking to Kyle Strom,
Yeah,
and he and Scotty are
Are doing a
working
good
a
book.
book.
and he's been posting art from it.
Oh, has he?
Kyle Strom has.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but I was talking to him, and I guess he was saying that at Planet they're gonna announce it. So
Are they? Wow.
Yeah.
You going to Planet?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're gonna have preview books at Planet.
I'll buy one
Yeah,
if I can get one. Cool.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
You're going to Planet then, huh?
I'm hoping to. I mean, I'm planning to.
I might.
kind of need to because I need like Hester to finish the piece he started on my jam piece.
huh?
Hester's going to be there?
Yes.
Is he gonna be at Planet?
Yeah.
Hester's always at Planet.
Not
Is he?
always at Planet.
Okay.
He's always at Planet.
He's not
I
always
did not
at
know
Planet.
that.
Always at Planet.
No, he's not always at Planet.
He's always
Sure.
at Planet.
Whatever.
Name one year he wasn't there.
Last
Last
year?
year?
No, he was there.
I don't think
Was
so.
he? Yeah, I didn't remember that.
When did he start on your piece?
At AirCap.
Why didn't he finish it?
Because it was like 2:00 on Sunday and he was getting the hell out of there.
Man.
And he like roughed it in. Because I was thought then Kyle would draw Spawn, but he didn't have time to draw Spawn. So then I was like, all right.
So you have to go
well,
to Planet to get your 2 pieces done.
Yes, and Baltimore has a commission that he's supposed to have done by then that he's supposed to deliver. That he was supposed to have done at AirCap, but he didn't get done.
Better be fucking good.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. He was working on it at AirCap.
What is it?
Cool.
Wolverine fighting the Brood.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Ha. Oh, me a Coke.
Jinx.
Jinx.
I read Elephant Man, Volume 5.
Man.
Now you have up
volumes
to
are
Volume 6. Is that the end?
Then I have the
really?
single issues from 50 through like 80.
Holy shit! So it keeps going, huh?
When are you gonna bind
my
it?
God.
How come you haven't bound
I'm
it
missing
yet?
one issue. I'm missing like 52. So I need to
Ah.
get 52, and then I'm gonna bind it all in one
So that's
big
gonna
book.
screw with all.
I was really hoping that part of the reason I started buying single issues because the book wasn't doing very well, and so I thought if I bought single issues, there's one more sales, you know, so I
Right.
would support the book.
Your
But
one sale
seems
didn't
But
to-
then they
seemed to live
canceled
for
it
another
anyway, and they
30
never put out
years.
any more hardcovers. I would actually have double bought it just to keep the format the same, but he stopped putting out the hardcovers.
After 6?
Yeah, once you
Okay.
got these go to 50, I think, and then
I think it does, yes.
and then he did. Started buying single issues after that, but he never put out hardcovers. So
Okay.
if I get it bound, it's not going to match. I'm going to have to buy my own. I'm going to have to design my own
Is
dust
what you
cover.
should do is just rip up all
Make it
your
nice.
hardcovers and then just bind it as a giant omnibus. Just bind 80 issues in one
I
giant
don't think that will work very well.
effing thing.
But
And then it'll
interesting.
be one format, and you'll be the
Well,
only one on the planet.
It
that
won't
has
work
it.
because these have like a funky paper. This has like a super
It
thick
is
paper in it.
thick paper.
Yeah, and the single issues are not that thick.
nice.
So that's like 4 issues in there. with
Yeah,
the
pretty
thick
much.
Just
paper.
about, and I'm taking forever to read them.
Like,
So
it's like
this
that.
is basically Sex, Drugs, and Elephant Man.
Yes.
So
Oh, this is where it gets weird, where it's all about like, because the girl, what's the girl's name? Miki.
Mickey.
Can I see it?
She gets
Yes,
all
you
like
do.
drugged out, doesn't she?
I love just when you guys put something up there
Yeah.
to show it,
And then you take it and look at
And then you take it and look at it. No, more of this one is the fact of the character that's on the back, who's like some type of killer of Elephant Man. and
It's Red
things.
Sonja.
Yes.
Essentially, yes. And she was like a killer during
That's
the
seriously
war.
Red Sonja.
She was like a killer during the big war, and then she's coming back to kill a bunch of them, type thing. And
That's
like
pretty thick
one of
paper.
the characters they introduced gets killed, and but Hip is sleeping with Mickey. I don't know that she's
that's
exactly
right.
stoned out of her mind yet, but I mean,
Uh,
it seems like what's the other guy, Ebony or whatever?
Yeah.
He gets stoned all the time. He's always taking some type of other wonder drug type thing. So that makes
That's
it
a
think.
little-
But
I
you're
like
right. There is
cigarette.
some of that druggy stuff though, because Hip takes the
Yeah.
drug and he thinks that he's
I
like
saw it.
a human or something for a day or something weird. So
This
that's why I said
weird.
sex,
This
drugs,
is-
and Elephant Man.
Axel
Well,
Medlin
they
does
have
a lot
different-
of it, but they
I was
bounce
gonna say
around
they-
I
a
know
lot.
they bounce around a lot.
They bounce
Axel
around a
Medlin
lot.
is the main dude,
Hmm.
but they have a bunch
Never
of
even heard
villains.
of him.
He mostly does Elephant Man.
The big thing with this one though that gets really
There's a
weird is
lot
that
of
this is
back matter.
oh yeah, and every
Extra.
one of them had that. It's a ton.
What is that? Like a cutout naked doll?
Naked doll. That sounds cool.
I don't know, but maybe I need to relook at that.
Nice. You can dress them up.
Like the little
She's
people-
naked.
Oh
'cause you
yeah,
have to dress
yeah,
her
the
up.
little dress up the dolls, yeah, type things. Yep, that's all in there.
Yeah, there's a oh yeah. Oh my god, and the elephant's naked too.
Yep, big elephant penis there for you.
There's
He's
another
actually
little
a hippo.
one.
He's a hippo, not an elephant.
That's an elephant,
That is, but that's a hippo.
and that's a hippo. So you got the elephant
Elephant penis,
penis
hippo
and a
penis.
hippo penis.
Don's very excited. About
Who
it.
is
There he
the-
goes.
who is-
He's
why did you
excited
have
about
him
the
sign it
animal
to
men.
Rich?
I don't. That's already there. It's
That was
not
already
freaking-
there.
It's not a signature. It just looks
Wow.
like it.
Oh, look, there's more.
There's
Yes, there
more.
is. There's a couple more.
There's a
in there.
rhinoceros. There's your elephant penis.
There's your elephant penis. Yep.
There's that naked chick, and that naked chick.
Yep.
Shaky Kane.
Shaky cane. So are you still liking it then, or is it getting
Overall-
too weird for you?
Overall, I'm still okay with it.
So when they got to 50, they decided they wanted to, at 51, they wanted to make it a little more focused, so the stories are supposed to be a little more compact.
Okay, okay.
So maybe you'll have to read those and see if...
The
you
biggest
like
problem I have on this one is
You can-
actually it does seem like the story's focusing a little bit more, but you have certain chapters or issues in which it's like a lot of the art taking place with very little language, and then you have other ones in which it's just a freaking book to
Yeah.
get through this issue,
Mm,
because there's
yeah.
bubbles all over the damn place,
Yeah.
and pretty dense type things.
He does
So
do that sometimes.
so it is kind of weird, you're getting this flow and going, yeah, I'm just moving right along, and it's like, oh shit, I got 5 pages now of just shit all over the place
Yeah.
to read. So
Where's
it's
the Ed McGuinness art?
kind
Is
of
Ed
weird.
McGuinness art?
He's in the back of this book.
Maybe he just does a cover or
I was gonna
something.
say you should take this to Planet and get Ed to sign it.
There you go.
How much
But
does
yeah,
he
I still
charge?
dig
I
it.
don't know.
Still think it's
got
pretty
Iron
good
Churchill.
overall.
J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah, he does a lot of the cover art.
Maybe he just does covers.
I think Richard Starking's made so much money off like Comic Craft, he can just hire whatever he wants.
Yeah.
It's just loaded.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah, he did fonts. That's
He
where
like
he made his money.
Yeah, he like invented all the fonts,
Software and fonts and stuff, and sold it.
He was on the cusp of the digital lettering revolution of comic books.
Cool.
He's like a cajillionaire. He's like the
I don't
Bill
know if
Gates
he's
of
a
comic books.
Cajillionaire, but
He made enough money to produce this.
it's true. I don't know if that. This is an extremely expensive book. He's got Axel Metal and drawn it. Most of it. I don't think he works very expensively.
Huh.
He's pretty cheap, I think.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So anyway, but yeah, cool. So you got volume 6 at home.
I do still have volume 6. I only got through one of them
That's fine.
because I was
You
too
can go
busy
slow.
watching like stuff.
Well, I should talk about Protector. Did you
You
buy
what?
Protector,
I
Dog?
did, but I've not read it yet.
This book threw me, man. Okay, so I'm reading it, and I flip it open,
Why would you do
And-
Is that a? That's
and it
a,
says, like, the slave mines of Chicago, Great Lakes region, North America, 3241 AD. And so I just kind of brushed over that. So I'm reading it, and it feels like it's like these weird Indian guys. So I'm like, what time period is this? But yet they've got, like, white people as, like, slaves, the Indians do. I'm like, well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of weird. Well, she runs away. She tries to get away. She stumbles into, like, this pit, and she finds this giant, like, mecha robot thing, killer thing that's, like, bonded to her, and it's killing all her captors or whatever.
Okay.
And then it cuts to, like, now they've...
art looks awesome.
Now they, yeah, it
does
is.
look pretty dang good.
And then they basically, the Indian tribes are trying to get together to fight this big giant thing she's unleashed or whatever. So that's the basic idea.
Is that a Stoko cover?
It is a Stoko cover. The main art is Trakanov. Trakanov, you know
It
him?
looks good. No, I
He
don't.
did that Seven Deadly Sins book I made you read, the Western. Remember that one at all?
God, no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't.
But anyway, he's pretty cool. He's got a really cool art style. That's kind of why
hold it.
I mostly bought it for his art. And I didn't really understand what the concept was, but it's kind of a neat concept. I feel like it's all set up, like not much really happens in the first issue. And it's world building, so like, because it is set in the future, like somehow.
Is it
like,
a future or an alternate?
No, it's the future. Like
okay.
the Earth warmed, and so like most of North America became like desert, like, and so everybody kind of shifted up to Canada, and somehow we became more primitive. There's a whole like back matter thing where it has like the map of the world, you know, and then it's got like little.
Okay.
I mean, he really went into detail. He's got like these different tribes, and he like
Maybe it was
describes.
what if the Indians
every
beat back the white
tribe.
man?
So no, I don't think so. I mean, it could be. I mean, it's set like in 3200 AD, so I guess. You
Well,
can
I
take it
wasn't
any way
sure
you
if
want.
it was like they decided to.
He didn't really go too much into detail
Planet
about
of the
how
Apes.
we got here.
Planet of the
It's
Apes.
Planet of the
Ah,
Apes.
that
It's more
could be
like-
true too.
This is how the world is now. Deal with it. And
No.
anyway, it's interesting. The art's really cool. Not much
Is there
happened.
a Statue of Liberty buried in the sand?
The problem is when you have a first issue with this much like world building, it's really hard to.
Yeah.
To really
all that
judge
out
it yet.
there.
Yeah.
So I really don't even know what's going on in this world yet. Like East to West did a pretty good job because Hickman's a master of like really early establishing like the status quo. This book, I don't feel like they established the status quo quite as well, or I wasn't paying enough attention, which is perfectly possible. But either way, but no, it's fun so far. I like it. I enjoyed it.
You have to pay attention.
I've already started. I mean, I've already pre-ordered like all the rest, so it doesn't really matter at this
hell.
point.
Right.
I mean, it's not like, oh, it's not any good. I guess I'm
So I
out.
think it's a bit of a limited series.
Well, I assume it is. I don't know. It could potentially go for longer. I'm guessing
Okay.
it's not gonna.
It's an image title.
It's an image title. They usually go
the
for
hell,
a few.
that means it's only like 6 episodes or 6
So
issues
this
back.
comes out of my way back machine. I don't know where the hell I stashed these. This
Oh,
is from,
wow.
like, 2013.
Matt Kent?
Spider-Man. Matt Kent did a Spider-Man story.
Yeah, back in 2013.
I don't remember that.
It was a 5-issue.
How was it?
run. It was good.
Is Spider-Man a spy?
The art in this.
No, he's a Boy Scout.
No, the art in this is crazy. It's like Sienkiewicz. Like,
It's Marco Rudy.
yeah, I don't know who that dude is, but
Looks
the
more
art's
like Marcos
insane,
Martin.
and it really fits the story. So basically, this is like my impression of this book is it's Matt Kent's what was it? Arkham Asylum,
Oh yeah,
and the artwork kind of
fits that.
fits that. So basically, it's called 99 Problems is like the name of the story, and
Spider-Man ain't one.
right. So he wakes up and he goes to like do a story, take photos
wow.
of something, and it was very, very Sienkiewicz, and very. So basically, he has to fight all of his villains. Like he keeps going, so he finds out Arcade is behind this, but Arcade's not the one who's behind it. He just devised everything. So he goes on a plane, and there's like 8 bad guys on the plane, and he's got to beat those guys. And then when he beats that, the plane crashes, and then he's in the ocean, and he gets picked up by a submarine, and there's like 8 bad guys on the submarine. So he fights those guys. And then he just fights his way through all this stuff, and he gets to the end, and he figures out that it must be Kingpin, because he's the only one that can have the money and the ability to do
Can
all
have
this.
all these bad guys.
And it's actually Kingpin's son and Kingpin working together. And they were like, well, all
Kingpin
these guys
must
are
be
bad
so
guys,
bad.
and they keep getting out. So we basically did it so that you could you could beat them, and then they finally go back to prison. But we paid for it. But so it's really cool. It moves really fast. It's really fast paced. It's a lot of action. The design is like insane. The art's insane. It's like all over the place.
Insane.
There's no panels. It's just I liked it a lot. It's very, the story is cool and the artwork works really well.
And you said this came out like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
2013, 7 years ago, Scott.
I don't know. They got set aside somewhere, like in a different pile in like a box. They just disappeared, and I'm like going through stuff to read, and I'm
Hey,
like,
What the
Scott.
hell is this?
I'm like, oh, hey,
I think
look.
he read it before and forgot
No,
about
I
it.
didn't.
And forgot about it, and
I
then
didn't see
found
that.
it, and then he reread it, and he's like, "This is brand
This
new.
is
I never read
the
this."
best thing
I didn't-
ever.
I didn't say it was brand new.
Well, no,
Oh,
new to
no.
him is what you
But
said.
you were
But
like,
yeah,
it was
I'm
new
pretty
to
sure
me.
he read it before
No, I didn't.
and forgot.
I didn't read
It looks familiar.
I think I was like saving up to get all 5 of
It
them
looks
before I
familiar to
read
you?
it.
Drew?
Yeah, it does.
I was
So
saving
you
up to
probably
get
read
all
it, like-
5.
I've never read it.
You've never read
The
it?
cover just looks familiar.
Huh.
I think I heard Don talk about it on podcast before.
You're going to go dig
I'm
through
not
the
gonna dig through the
podcast.
archives.
Anyway,
The archives.
See,
Wait-
Don,
wait,
back in
wait.
2014.
way to go, Matt Kent, 7 years ago on a good Spider-Man story.
Oh.
Ooh.
Um,
It's the color one.
This is Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics. Are you buying that?
I did, but I don't know if I'm going to continue.
Did you read
What?
the first one?
I have not.
Okay.
I have all this stuff.
Well, I know, I do too.
Is
And
this
so-
the
so-
beginning?
I thought it would be like the very first published Usagi Yojimbo story in color, but it's not.
Dark Horse?
I don't know what it is, because I don't have that in my brain. But it's basically, it's like his origin story. It talks about his training, like when he was a little Usagi and he trained with this cool lion head guy, dude. And so it's that story, and it's the first part of it because it's like a 2-parter. And so maybe it's going to go in chronological order as opposed to published order. I don't know. But anyway, I enjoy the color. I know you said you're not a big fan of Usagi in color. But I think it's cool, and I don't have these in single issues, and so it's kind of cool to kind of
Kind
But
of flashback.
don't-
get
You
them
have
and get them
the-
color. I have like the big hardcover that Fantagraphics put out,
Yeah.
and then I have some
That's
of the other.
that stuff, right?
stuff.
That's the single issue stuff?
That's all the Fantagraphics stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not single issues; it's a big hardcover.
I know, but I'm saying it's the stuff from the single issue.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
have it.
I do, but I don't know if this was in that or if this was in the Dark Horse stuff or where this
Gotcha.
was at. So I have no idea. But
I
it was
mean-
either way. It wasn't in color.
Right.
Cool.
Exactly.
So I'm curious how far they're going to go with these color classics. I think it's kind of a neat idea.
I don't even have all of the single issues. I have a lot of them, but I know I'm
Yeah.
missing a few.
Well, I had the
Because I started to buy it and
I had the
then
Fantagraphics
got
thing,
away from it.
and then Dark Horse started putting out cool hardcovers, but I missed the boat on that. So you can't get the first one because it's out of print and it's super expensive. So that's done. So I bought a bunch of them digitally. I think where I was reading them because Dark Horse used to have these digital sales. So I bought a bunch of them. and I read a bunch of them.
Well, I have
digitally.
all of the Dark Horse.
But
Because when he started at Dark Horse, I bought it. But
yeah,
They went through like Fantagraphics, and then they did like Image
Mirage.
or
I
Mirage,
think
and then
Mirage.
Image,
I don't think it was ever at Image.
I believe.
But it might have been.
Unless I'm thinking.
I think it
of
went
Teenage
Mirage. I
Mutant
think Teenage
Ninja
Mutant Ninja Turtles did go to Image, but you saw you do that.
Turtles. Okay.
But anyway, so it's kind of cool. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know why I'm buying it. I like Usagi
You
Yojimbo.
like Usagi
What's cool about
Yojimbo?
Usagi Yojimbo, we talked about all that other stuff. You can really just pick any Usagi Yojimbo book
Yeah,
up and read it. It's
absolutely.
fairly, self-contained most of the time. I mean, there's obviously characters that reoccur and stuff, but you don't need any of that back history.
Yeah.
You're not really. It's not like an overarching story that you have to
Right.
catch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, you can pop
And this
in.
would be a great jumping
Well-
on point. If you like the new one, you could go back and read this. And if you never
It
read
does
Usagi,
because I mean it does have history.
There
are
is,
characters,
there
but
are,
you don't need it.
you don't
Right.
need it.
Yeah.
It does add a little layer to it
Right.
if you have it, but it's definitely not that
So, I have a
important. You'll get
question.
much of enjoyment out of it without knowing all that.
I have a question for you
Yes,
about
sir.
Usagi.
Okay.
So I was
Oh,
listening
boy.
to another podcast, and they were doing their best of show or of the year or whatever.
Okay.
And one of the categories was whatever all ages comics.
Oh yeah,
And Usagi Yojimbo was on their list for
Yeah.
all age comics.
I can see that.
Really, it's brutal, dude. There's a
But
lot
it
of
doesn't show anything. It's just killing. But they they
It's
do like
just killing.
some
they
of the
do like
old stuff
cartoony,
is
like-
pretty.
Like, look at this. They're like,
It's
oh,
like Looney
look.
Tunes.
I mean, it is like Looney Tunes. Look at that guy's face. He's like, oh, look, I just got stabbed. You know, I mean, I guess it's
Okay.
violent.
I mean, I could go either way, but I just
I don't know. I
remember,
gave
like,
it to Zach when he was like 9, and
Yeah, and
I
you
wasn't
were
too worried
like,
about
it's
it.
pretty. When you started reading some of the old stuff, you're like, oh, it's pretty.
You saw
Pretty
it?
brutal.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's the same thing as Gru. Like, Gru's killing people, but it's like cartoony, and so you don't care.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
It's like itchy
It
and
didn't-
scratchy.
it
It's
didn't
fine.
piss me off that they did that, but I was just like,
I think it's all
it's
ages.
kind of on the fence.
it's a little on the fence. I just think most younger kids probably aren't going to like it because it's a little. There's so much history, and there's like a lot of terms that they won't know because he uses all the Japanese
Yeah,
terms.
but he puts a little asterisk.
He does. I just think
Explains
most
it.
kids don't have the attention span for that crap. That's my opinion.
Hell, as an adult, I don't have that attention.
Well,
span.
exactly. And so I don't. I mean, it's a great all ages comic, I guess, but I don't think it's really that appealing. I mean, they'd much rather read Smile about Kid with
Right.
Braces. So, I
Exactly.
mean, that's going to be way more appealing than.
All right, so this is I pulled a bonehead, and you guys are gonna make
We
fun
can
of
laugh.
me.
Yes, we're going to make fun of that again.
So see what issues
Yeah.
in there.
1,
Oh my god.
5,
5?
6. You
That's
missed
all
4.
you have?
I
You missed
missed
3
2 things.
issues.
So
And
apparently,
you still read this?
okay. So here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. So I must have like bought the first issue and then decided I didn't want to buy it anymore, and then forgot that I didn't want to buy it anymore. So then I ordered 5 and 6. I guess is what happened.
I guess.
But here's
I was
the thing.
buying these. I've got to. I got
I
number
read,
1.
I read the first issue
Did you like it?
and I liked it so much
You
that
read
I was
5 and
like, you know
6?
what? I don't even give a crap about 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna read 5 and 6 and see if I really like it, and then I might buy a trade of it or go back. It's good, man. The art's good. So,
Oh, God.
and I've never heard of this guy, but
Oleg Okunev?
So
Imagine that.
basically,
You haven't heard of Oleg?
this
Okunev?
story is
Pestilence.
yes. So the bubonic
It's about
plague.
one
This
So
is
of
not
the-
the art I was expecting.
About
good
one
though,
of the
right?
4 horsemen.
Well, the cover makes it look like it's all like dark and photographed and grainy, and then you look in, it's like Humberto Ramos or something.
kind of, sort of.
Like what?
Rainbow Bright.
So this is set back in the
Humberto Ramos.
in-
Oh,
in
I know
the,
who you're talking
He
about.
did
Yes,
Crimson.
Yes, yes.
Crimson.
Very good. Yeah.
So this
Sorry,
is
I
set
am
back
actually
in the
familiar with that
Crusades.
artist.
Good job.
Yeah.
You're learning.
I'm
There's some
learning.
nudity in here.
Yeah. This is set back like in the Crusades.
Well, that should like sell it immediately to Drew,
And-
doesn't it?
Right, because he has to cut out naked paper dolls.
That's true.
I'm surprised that he didn't cut them out and play with them. That they were actually still in the thing. That would have been great if you're.
If I
like,
did
reading
come out
it.
and play with them, I would have dressed them.
That would have been great if you were like reading through and it was all cut out, and you're like,
God.
"What was this?"
Anyway, we
So, I
digress.
I don't know what kind of
big
review
time.
this is going to be. Review this is going to be if you missed 2, 3, and 4.
I know.
Actually, it's not that bad.
It wraps
You
up
could-
fairly nice.
It must have been fairly decompressed then.
The way
Like you missed
everything-
3 issues and
the
be
way-
like, eh.
The way everything's decompressed nowadays, you really don't
It
need
just
to
got
know
right
the
back up.
story.
It was all good.
So, it's set back in the whatever
No, we're
1200s.
not going to review this book.
Yes, I am.
You didn't even read all of
I read enough. I got it.
You read enough to recommend
And they
it,
do
right?
little recaps
Oh,
in the
God.
thing.
I
So
hate
because
that.
I was like reading it, and they show all the characters,
Hence the reason he could buy 5 and 6.
And then at the end, and then when I
get
get into 5, it's like that character's not there. So I flip back, and then it says, "Oh, this character died previously." Blah blah blah. So
and go, well, that explains it.
So it's set in the Crusades. It's basically the bubonic plague or whatever that was spread by the rats that killed like billions of people back in the day.
Yeah, the Black Plague.
Yeah, it wasn't rats. It was a
rats.
cover-up by the church, and they were actually zombies.
Well, I thought they said historically it wasn't rats either.
But
it wasn't zombies.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. But
what was it, dogs?
I don't know.
Okay.
But this book, it's not. It's a cover-up because it was zombies, and like some might have been like some offshoot or some crazy wing of the church, like actually caused the zombies and started the plague. So then they do a cover-up, and so the story is about a group of like 5 or 6 people. They're kind of like a band, and they go around and they like work for the church, but they're kind of like the Suicide Squad for the church. Like they go out and do like missions for the church.
They're evil.
Well, no, they're not evil,
just
but they're doing
missions.
No, they're not evil. They're doing, but that's like they're the little group. They're like the splinter cell for like the church that goes out and takes care of problems and stuff. And they find out that this is all a cover up, and so then they're starting to fight the zombies. And then at the end of whatever the last issue I bought, 6. Like, it kind of ends the arc, and I don't know if it came back or not, but it leaves it to where they're going to... I bought this a while ago, dude.
No, you're all good.
But anyway, I liked it. It was a cool story. It was written well.
Did not come back.
I didn't miss.
Well, probably because Dodd didn't buy all the issues.
No, I missed 2, 3,
It's all
and 4.
due to Dodd.
They're like, I don't know why our sales dropped off like 2, 3, and 4, but then they spiked up on 5 and 6. That doesn't make any sense.
Our sales doubled.
Who's buying 5 and 6 but not 2, 3, and 4?
Our sales
Is
doubled.
there somebody out there?
There's this guy in Kansas that bought 5 and 6.
I mean, I think I probably sold like 2,000 copies. Those one copy of that 2, 3, and 4 really threw him for a loop.
Anyway, it was a little experiment that I did. I mean, it's like, do you really need to read everything to
Apparently
get the story?
not.
You don't.
You
do
don't.
not.
You should try that.
All right.
The next time you have like 8 issues of something, read 1 and 2.
Only read the
skip
first
3, 4, and 5.
And then the last 2.
You
and
could
see
not
how
have
it
skipped
works out.
issues of this and made any
No,
sense of it.
you could not have. Did it make
Mr.
sense
Miracle.
if you read all of it?
Kind of.
Yeah. What did you think?
I liked it.
Did you?
I liked it quite a bit.
Really?
I give it like, I don't know, 9 out of 10 or something.
Very good.
So yeah, it's very good. Tom King, Mitch Gerads did Mr. Miracle. I see why they won Eisner. They tried to do a lot of kind of experimental things and kind of make it different. In some ways, it felt like it was a little contrived. Like, I mean, they were trying a little too hard, maybe. You know,
That they were experimenting.
Did it make you sad? Did you cry?
No, it didn't really make me sad.
That's kind of sad.
Is it? Why was it sad?
In parts, it's a sad book.
So it starts out with, I'm not going to give the history of Mr. Miracle because they give that in like the first 3 pages. They give you like a rundown. So you don't actually need to know anything about Mr. Miracle. But it starts out with Mr. Miracle committing suicide or attempting suicide. And then they don't really explain why he attempted suicide. But anyway, then he kind of bounces back. His wife kind of helps nurse him back to health. And there's a big war going on. He gets recruited. So basically Orion, who's now the High Father, because the High Father dies. So Orion takes over. And so Orion is the king of the New Genesis, and then Darkseid is the king of Apocalypse, and they're at war. So there was this big war. Mr. Miracle gets kind of dragged in because he's one of the royal families, so he gets dragged in to help fight the war. So it's got kind of a thing about, like, the toll war takes on people and then the soldiers back at home. I kind of got that feeling a little bit. But yet he committed suicide before he was even in the war. I assume he had been in the war before. But anyway, so it's about the war, and then he's married, and then basically he gets accused of being a traitor, and he's on trial, and he gets sentenced to death. And so it does this weird thing where, like, for 3 days he's like awaiting for his death sentence, with his wife. They're spending like their last 3 days together because he has to go report for his death sentence or whatever. But then at the last minute they decide, we're not going to do that. So they fight, and they basically fight back and kill Orion, I think, and whatever. And then they take over, and then they take over the war. And like I say, it goes a lot of places. But at that point also, Big Barda announces that she's pregnant. And so then they have like a baby boy or whatever, and so there's a whole thing. And so it's kind of like Saga in that, like, it really delves into the minutia of having a newborn child, and it kind of talks a lot about that, and they're dealing with that while all these, like, superhero type, war things are going on. So it's interesting how it brings it, like, down to earth. And if you've had children, like us, we all have children, we've gone through that newborn stage, you can really relate to it. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, or maybe you're in the throes of it now. So, like, if you have a newborn, this book would be awesome for you, because you would totally be like, this is, I got 2 hours of sleep last night, that kind of thing. So, anyway, it's really good. I guess reading some reviews afterwards, there's a lot of things I didn't get. Like, there's that thing where all throughout the book, like, there's a panel that says dark side is. I don't totally know what they're trying to accomplish with that,
Dark side is everything, because dark side is.
I guess.
I don't know.
But, and then there's a whole thing, like, some of the online thing I was reading, because they were like, well, when he killed himself, did he really die and he's in his, like, own alternate universe? Yeah. It's like, I didn't really get that. I guess you could interpret it that way. I mean, it didn't really seem like that. But I guess maybe, I don't know, I guess that's the big, like, almost, what's that movie that Nolan did? Started with, like, an eye. Inception, yeah. It almost tries to pull, like, an Inception at the end. Is it all just in his head, or maybe it doesn't matter? Right. And there's that guy, like, his promoter, because he's, like, a escape artist, right? He does, like, shows and stuff, like Funky Flashman or whatever,
It's
like
Stan Lee.
I know, but which was stupid because Stan Lee had nothing to do with the gods or whatever. Right. But anyway, so Funky Flashman's for the first like 3 or 4 issues. At one point, I thought Funky Flashman was just a figment of his imagination. You know what I mean? But then at some point, he's like watching the kid or whatever. So apparently, he is a real guy, and Bart is acknowledging that he's there too.
It could be a giant mind.
So at that point, well, yeah, the whole thing could be a giant mind thing, but yeah, I don't know what that would accomplish. But anyway, it's really well done. What's good about it is like he uses these cool like 9-panel grids. Mitch Gerard's artist does, and like he really does some interesting things with the art, and uses color very well to kind of contrast things and stuff. So I mean, it's just like a super cool put together book and very well thought out. I mean, like I said, I think they're definitely, sometimes it feels like they're trying a little too hard to be like, artsy and be something different. Right. But it works, for the most part, it works really well, and it's very well done. It's a cool book. I think Scott should read it. I think you'd enjoy it.
I don't know. Scott would enjoy it.
What? But Scott would totally enjoy this.
Okay. Well, you know Scott better than I do. I just doesn't jump me out.
Doesn't
jump out at me as a Scott book.
Scott would dig it. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good accomplishment in the comics. I think they did some interesting things and tried to kind of push the boundary a little bit. And so yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. Sorry, I probably talked about that too long.
No, it was I'll do.
Is that kind of how you felt?
Scott.
Like,
yeah, it's been a while since I read it, and it was really like when I read it.
It's definitely one of those books you read, and right after you read it, you're like, I kind of want to read it again because I feel like I'll get a lot more the second time. Yeah, it's throwing so much at you.
Yeah, and it seemed very, I don't want to use
it's
the word
jarring.
Meta, but it was just...
It is very meta.
It is, I guess it is meta, but it was just kind of like, I read it and I'm like, what did I just read? You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't really digest it all the way, and I'm just like, because I was like you, is like, did he kill himself and this is all whatever, or is this all in his head? Is he crazy? Because they kind of portray him as kind of not really all there. Like, he is kind of crazy, and... But yeah, like I said, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just remember liking it when I read it, and it was very odd all over the place. Like, it didn't seem like it ended, and I went, oh, okay, so this is what happened. I understand everything. Like, no, I didn't really understand it. You know what I mean? Like,
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe we should let Scott read it.
We need to let Scott read it. He'll figure it out.
Scott figures everything out, and he'll explain it to us.
Yes, that's why I want Scott to read it. So I can explain it to us.
There's only 2 reasons why I want to talk about this book.
Because Conan's in
it? So that's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard, is that Conan is in it. Until...
He's actually in it?
Until I get to the point where Conan pulls the baddest ass move that I've ever seen in a Marvel comic book in a long fucking time. So, it's got Wolverine.
Bury the lead.
It's got Wolverine. It's got
Hulk.
No, Hulk's,
Captain America.
No,
they're on the cover.
I know, but they're not on the team.
What?
So it's Hulk.
Lady
Elektra,
Venom.
No, it's Hulk, Electra.
Is that Electrovenom?
Yeah. Hulk.
Carnage
It's a
Punisher?
It's.
Brother
Are
Voodoo?
you gonna let me talk, or are you gonna keep asking?
Keep asking.
They did a special. You know how Marvel does like themed alternate covers.
Oh yeah.
For the month. That was the Carnageized cover, and so I bought the Carnageized cover, and it was.
I don't know what's stupider, that they do that or that you bought it.
I know. I thought the art looked cool. That's why I picked that one. Normally, I don't buy those because it sucks because you can't even tell what comic it is or issue it is.
Cool. You got 3 minutes to wrap it up.
All right. So
3 minutes to wrap
Conan, Wolverine, Elektra, Punisher,
Right into a bar.
Brother Voodoo, all
You're wasting your time.
all fight Kulan Gath.
Okay.
Remember Kulan Gath?
I know
like
Kulan Gath. Ironically, I'm actually reading the original Robert E. Howard Conan stories right now.
Wow.
Is Kulan Gath a Conan villain?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, he might have been. I don't know.
So
I know who Kulan Gath is, though.
So Doctor Strange.
Are you missing issue 1?
Yeah, but I mean, I read it a while ago.
Okay.
I read it.
Okay.
You read it.
So you have.
This is the run that I read.
Okay.
For this book or
No,
for
it's
this
all good.
Podcast, but
I just thought after your last review
So-
that you didn't buy issue 1.
yeah, right. That's been the new me.
Oh, we lost it. What happened?
We lost what?
This
Our
potty
episode.
casty thing.
Huh?
The
We're
thing.
not. We're not.
What happened to it?
Well, he's still on Facebook Live, and we're
Yeah.
still hearing all
So-
this, but he lost his recording too.
So
What
Conan.
happened? How did it go away?
Conan gets
Don ruined
the
it.
Venom. Gets the Venom symbiote somehow. This book is not the greatest.
really? I would've never
I'm a big
guessed.
Punisher fan, and Punisher's in it.
Okay.
But it's got some good stuff. But so they're fighting this monster, and Wolverine's in it, and Wolverine is hacking this thing, and it keeps regenerating, and they can't kill it enough to kill it.
So
It's
he's
so
striking
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
So Wolverine takes both of his
striking
claws and
Wolverine.
he shoves it into the head of this thing, but his claws won't go all the way in, so he's like stuck there. He can't penetrate the guy's brain, right?
Okay.
So Conan has the Venom symbiote.
Okay.
So he turns into he conjures up a Mjolnir, a Thor's hammer.
Okay.
It's not actually Mjolnir, but it's a Venom.
It's a hammer made out of a symbiote.
And he takes the hammer and smashes Wolverine's arm to shove his claws farther into this thing to kill it.
Okay.
And he's like,
Does it work?
yeah, but he has to do it like several times, and it's like killing Wolverine because he's doing it. But it doesn't
That's
make any sense
Wolverine.
because
He won't
Wolverine has
die. I mean, come
adamantium
on.
bones. It's not like
Exactly
they're
right.
breaking. But apparently, I've just never seen anybody use a hammer to drive Wolverine's claws into something.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's nice.
And then, so they the whole team kind of ties up the Kulan Gath thing, and then they go away, but then it's kind of cool for like a couple issues because the Punisher and Conan kind of hit it off, because Frank is interested in Crom, because Conan keeps talking about Crom, and Frank Castle's like, who's this Crom guy? And so they kind of go on this trek on their own. And then Doctor Doom comes into it later because he kidnaps Conan because Conan has one of the like a medallion from Kulan Gath, and it's like a powerful medallion. So Doctor Doom's trying. So this whole 8 issues, it's not even over yet. It's all like this battle with Kulan Gath. But I don't know. After the first arc, I was just kind of like, I don't know. Like the first 4 or 5 issues, I was just like, I don't even know if I want to buy this anymore. But it's got what's his face? Well, at least the first arc did. Deodato.
Yeah.
Deodato Jr. art. So the art's really cool. And the story's
Savage Avengers.
not bad. So I'm gonna stick with it for a little while.
Cool.
Anyway, I just thought it was crazy the way they
did what?
the way they did that with Wolverine's claws. Like, I could find a panel. It was cool.
I was just gonna
like,
check out the
holy
covers.
cow. And that's cool because Punisher has like this
Yeah, we don't care.
cool ass sword.
No,
And-
whatever.
Yeah,
Conan
Conan
I
picks
was
up.
honestly
I thought
going
you
to
were
look at
done
the
talking
covers.
about that.
Oh.
That's why you took
Conan picks up the machine gun, Frank's machine gun, and he's just like, because they're like in the Savage Land, and all these dinosaurs attack, and he picks up the gun.
That
He's
might
like,
be one of the best
"Ah."
covers I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. That is
Those
just
are Finch. I
freaking
think Finch
sweet.
does the covers. But all right, I'm done. Scott can talk about Deathbed.
I read Deathbed.
Did you like Deathbed?
I did. It was not bad, especially for a nice little kind of short, self-contained type of thing. Yeah.
Did my binding hold up with him? Did it fall apart?
I hope so. I mean, it didn't fall apart on me.
That's
I'm
cool.
hoping that it didn't fall apart as soon as I give it back to you.
No,
but
I'm sure
it did pretty
It's
well.
gonna,
I just
it's gonna
wanted to-
disintegrate.
I know.
As soon as you hand it through.
So,
It's like, I'm done with it. Now it's yours.
yes.
Wash
But,
my hands.
yeah, I overall though enjoyed this thing. I mean, you talked a lot about it last time, and
Yes,
so
I
I
did
don't
talk
really
about it.
need to reiterate it. I mean, it's kind of one of those things, kind of what would you say? Kind of live for now, a little bit. Don't take things
Yeah.
for granted. Things, and don't try to be so self-centered either that you don't stop and realize what's going on around you.
I'm gonna
So.
spoil everything for you, but that's exactly what Black Science is at the end.
Is it okay?
We haven't
I
read
can
it.
see
Why are you
that.
spoiling Black
Same.
Science?
Same type of idea.
Same type of
What the
idea,
hell is
I
wrong
can
bye.
with
see
you?
that. I can see that with that.
A-hole.
All right. No, whatever.
You're
It's
not
all
gonna
good.
read it for like 9 months.
It's
anyway.
going to
Comes
be
out
a
like a
year
couple months.
before I read it. Yeah, well, hell, if it's tomorrow before I read it, I will forget what the hell he
That's true.
said. So,
Scott will forget. So I
Uh,
won't.
but yeah, so it's pretty good. But like I said, I mean, I guess your main character is really kind of the writer that's trying to write this autobiography for this other guy, or I guess a biography for this other guy, and the other guy's kind of your secondary character who's kind of a bit of an ass. But I
He's a
do
bit of an
admit,
ass. I do like when he goes to the funeral of the one lady though. That was
really, I liked it when he went to the land where they worshipped him and
Oh,
they were
yeah.
all cannibals.
Yeah, they wanted to
That
eat
type of
him
thing.
because they wanted to
Yes.
be God. I mean,
Exactly.
he was God, so
It's-
you are what you eat.
Yes, I
enjoyed
like
that.
that one myself.
I really like the moon the best. I mean, the moon was pretty cool,
Did you?
just from a fun,
Fun type of thing.
crazy aspect.
I could agree with that.
But all the adventures were fairly.
Yes, but all they were pretty good there and stuff.
How'd you like the very beginning where he jumps out of bed naked, fighting all those
guys? Yeah.
The penises are
Is he
flying.
here
Drew
again?
loves the penis.
Drew loves the naked type stuff. Yeah, so going on, but
It was just a
it's
normal
good.
human penis, though. It wasn't like
An elephant or-
it wasn't an
Or
elephant or an
hippopotamus.
albatross or a
Yeah,
hippopotamus.
that's true.
So.
It's disappointing.
But it was enjoyable. Thanks for that one. You kind of pegged me on that.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
kinda
it
like
was a
that,
quick little
It's
read.
quick little read, nice self-contained.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
type
good.
thing.
Well, it's Josh Williamson. He's the same guy who writes Birthright. So I figured.
Yeah. So.
Dude, he also wrote Nailbiter. I
Yeah,
think.
that's coming back.
That's so good. Yeah.
I never
you
read
never
Nailbiter.
read it. Oh, I love that book.
Okay, Drew, what do you got? Well, I looked through Don's covers.
I've got 2 more, and that's all I'm doing.
2 more?
Is that the Baltimore?
Yeah, I bought the heavy metal with Baltimore. I don't really like heavy metal, but I do like Baltimore's art. He does
Yeah,
pretty
so what
good
do you think
stuff.
of it?
It's cool.
Yeah, that issue that had
Allison?
Allison. I only read like his story.
Yeah, that's
I was
pretty
like
much all I
trying to
read.
flip through like heavy metal, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not into it.
Not
anymore.
into it. Oh, Getting Falls. That's for Scott. You can read that.
Ooh, and then we can talk about
Oh,
that
I should
one.
read issue 2 of Kill Locke. So remember I talked about this book about
Yes,
these
this
robots.
is about the robots.
Yeah, it got better. I like it. I kind
don't
of digging
know
it.
That it did.
So like these robots, there's these 4 robots who have basically been like sentenced to die, and so they're all like kill locked together. So like if one of them dies, they all die. They have this little mark, so they're like, so they're like a band of these outcast robots, and they're trying to figure out how to undo the kill lock. So they're like going around almost like a MacGuffin, trying to figure out how to undo the kill lock thing.
Oh, really?
But it's fairly entertaining. The art's pretty cool, and they all have distinct personalities. Like one of them's kind of like a smart ass, and then one of them's like a little kid, and one of them's like this big warrior, very serious, So I mean, it's fun. The contrast in personalities works well. I don't know. It's cool. I like it. I'm glad I stuck with issue 2. What else do I have that's worth talking about?
Were you going to
Not
talk about Lock and
much.
Key?
Oh yeah, I could talk about it. We kind of already talked about it. I guess I can talk about it.
Come on, let's talk about it because I want to spoil the shit out of it for what I remember.
Cool. Lock and Key. I finally read volume 3 because I knew the TV show was coming out. And I kind of wanted to read it
Good
in case I
job.
watched the TV show.
In case you watched it, there was like
Surprised
going to be
you
a
haven't.
question.
Well, I'm sure I'll watch it eventually. I just don't know how soon I'll watch it.
What?
Well, because I gotta get my family to either agree to watch it or I have to watch it on my own, which takes more time. But yeah, this book is awesome. Like it finally, like it really felt like everything was really tied up really well, and it
Doesn't it feel like it all comes together?
It
and
does
actually
come together
has
very well.
a very decent ending.
I feel like Joe Hill.
I kind of wonder if Joe Hill needs to teach his dad
How to end the book. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I agree. So this one starts with like the parents being hung during the Revolutionary War. So it has that. So it tells like the backstory, like how the keys, where they came from, and all that stuff. And then it also has a whole arc where it tells the backstory of the teenagers. So this is like almost half of this book is backstory about like the teenagers and like when his dad was a kid and what they all did and all that. And so you get all that, and then once you get the backstory, and then the big finale where everything kind of comes together, and it's so dark. Like, I mean, so many people die in this darn book. Like all these teenagers get killed, and all these friends get killed. And
and it's characters that have been throughout the
characters that you kind of care about, and so it's fairly
book,
especially once you feel the backstory, because you really feel bad for Ellie, the lady who like was dating
Lucas,
and now she's a adult and she's really depressed, and then he comes back and he really abuses her, and she misses him so much that she puts up with it, but it's pretty brutal, and so I don't know. And then
you have the character too that has like the mental
correct
as well, and
so I mean, but it has a pretty good, as dark as it gets, it has a pretty cool happy ending. Like it's cool, like with the lady who like had her brain taken out, who's like in the mental hospital, who's in the wheelchair. They get like her stuff back in, and she like comes back to life and kind of like gets her memories back and stuff. So I don't know. It just has a lot of really cool happy ending.
It does. It comes around overall for something that was fairly dark in a lot of ways. And, had a lot of. So
it's kind of a roller coaster of emotions.
I was really satisfied with this ending.
Yeah.
And how it all came around. And how he was... I mean, sometimes the biggest struggles with some of those endings, too, is to try to make it so that things work out in certain ways, but not almost be a cop-out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like everything that he did, like especially, like, say, the Bodhi thing, I felt like him bringing back Bodhi, at the end... was not really a cop-out. He had a way to do it through the magic of the keys.
Yeah, he had set it all up previously. It didn't feel like...
That's right. Everything
didn't feel like he like changed the rules at the end to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I felt like they found a way within the rules he had established to make it come out to a fairly decent ending.
Correct. And even in the end,
where very difficult.
Tyler figures out how to defeat, the people with the key that turns their stuff, that closes the door, then they turn metal or whatever, that comes with like a sacrifice because it kills the person. You know what I mean? Like it sets them free. So I mean, even the solutions have like consequences or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I just felt it was really well done and really came together great. I really like Locke and Key. Like when Don read, he's like, "This is one of the best books, of the last 10 years." I mean, I think he said it was the best. I think it's one of the best. You said it was
like one of the best things that you read that year. Now
it's definitely
good.
One of the best books that's come out, lately.
And what's funny is I felt like this one in particular, Locke and Key, I felt like got better as it went on.
Because it starts to come together, I think. And so
perhaps.
And so I think that's part of what makes it.
Yeah, maybe good. The whole character development and things that were going on there.
Well, it's also got kind of I remember when I read it, it's got kind of a obvious, like a Stephen King, it's got kind of like a Stand By Me vibe to it. With like the kids.
I could see that.
And in the show, you can sort of see that develop, especially like, when they're talking about, well, this happened before. It's kind of like a Stand By Me / It, where it's got like the adults that were the kids and they went through it, and now you've got the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's different groups.
Yeah.
But it kind of has a kind of like the really good stuff of like It and the really good stuff of kind of like Stand By Me.
Yeah, because you get that backstory of the group of the parents.
Right.
And
you kind of feel that, like, because I had completely forgotten about like the adult, like their dad and his group of kids, like in high school, like I had completely forgotten about that. And then like episode 2 or 3, when the wife is talking to Ellie, and she's like, "Oh well, or the teacher tells them, well, all that bad stuff happened," and she's like, "What?" And then she's talking to Ellie, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, a bunch of kids drowned, or some kids drowned at the swimming hole or whatever the hell." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, there was that whole other story of like when they were kids," and I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of has that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, I really hyped that book because I loved it. I mean,
it's
I
really
the
good.
story was just awesome, and the art is just on top of that.
Art
It's
is
just amazing.
great, isn't it?
But I really like that series.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of things to like about this.
I want to go back and reread it now.
I know, well, especially after the whole
The
show and everything. It's like, what am I really missing? You know, in some respects, through here.
This will be quick. I finally read Berserker Unbound.
What'd you think of this? Did I do it accurately?
I guess
It's really slow, and then it gets pretty good at the end.
it's really slow. It's kind of
Pointless.
pointless.
Sure.
I love Jeff Lemire and I like Mike Deodato Jr., but so like this guy is a Conan guy and he goes out and he kills a bunch of people and then goes back to his town and his wife and the whole town slaughtered, his wife and his kid, and there's like a magic, like
portal.
a wizard, and
Yeah.
he opens a portal and he ends up coming to, I guess, our world. And he runs into some homeless dude living in the woods. And they don't talk to they can't understand each other the entire time. And he drags this guy around. He takes him to like a food bank. They get like a free meal. And then they come back and like some kids are like beating up the old man. And so he runs them off. And then the wizard opens the portal and they all come through. And he kills all those guys. And then they go back through the portal, and that guy, the guy from our world, the homeless guy, goes with them because he ain't got nothing else to live with because he lost his wife and his kid.
Yeah, I think that's the heart of the story. It's
and
like,
then
is that
they go back through the portal, and then they walk off into the sunset, like in another world or whatever.
Yeah,
and I get it, but you could go anywhere with it. But 4 issues of that it took to do that. It didn't. I don't know. I guess you have to have 4 issues, but. It was a very basic story.
It's fairly basic, because I think it's really about these two people from complete different worlds, like, finding a connection, you know?
Yeah.
And until you got to that, I felt like there wasn't much to it, but then it's really about that connection between these two characters and how they kind of, even though they don't even speak the same language, they find, like, common ground, and they sort of help each other out, and then form this, like, bond.
I get it.
And if that doesn't connect with you, then yeah, there's nothing else there because it really is fairly pointless.
Well, and then the other thing that really threw me at the very end, like the last 2 pages, now they're talking to each other. Like all of a sudden they understand each other.
I think it's because they're in that world now. Now they speak the same language. Or something. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. It wasn't terrible. Like the art's cool.
The art's very good.
And the story is okay. It just seemed very drug out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's not much to it.
There's not much to it, and it seemed really drug out. But I guess I get it. But I don't know. I wasn't disappointed with it. It was fairly. It's like simple, like we've said in the past. Like, does it need to exist?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like does it?
Definitely one of those stories that.
I mean, nothing really needs to exist. But
true, but it didn't really do anything amazing or new or interesting.
No, but he did set it up to where now they can write off, and I mean they have these abilities to go to all these different because now they have this portal with all the different symbols, and I mean, they can technically go to all kinds of different places and have adventures or whatever. I guess it just depends on how well it's sold. But
I don't think it's sold that well. But yeah,
which is a shame because that's 2 powerhouses, right? Like those guys
I think it sold pretty well.
Do you think I don't know? Do you think people really pay attention to like Dark Horse or Image or like because what I'm saying is if Jeff Lemire and Mike Deodato Jr. did this book like at Image. Do you think it would have sold more, or do you think it would have mattered?
I think it was.
Do you think it's the names, or do you think it's the publisher?
I think it's most of the names. I don't think publisher really matters.
Right, because I don't think people don't buy Dark Horse
I don't know. I don't know how much, if we're more savvy than your average comic book guy, like if we follow creators more than most people.
I'm not saying that we're more savvy, but we're definitely probably more... We pay attention more.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if everybody pays as much attention.
Right.
If when they go through the previews, if they look. But I mean, that book caught my eye because I think Dark Horse was promoting it pretty well in their section of the previews or whatever. And I saw Deodato and I saw Lemire, so I don't know, man. I'm done, so you can.
What?
I just have 2 more. They won't take very long.
You got something else?
I got caught up on some of my Hellboy stuff, but this was like a one-shot Hellboy versus Lobster
And
Johnson.
talk about it?
Yeah, because it's kind of cool. So, like, in the Hellboy and the BPRD, they've been doing like 1954, 1955, 1956. Well, there was a time where Hellboy disappeared and he went to Mexico.
Hellboy Mexico.
Yeah. And so...
Did Corbin draw that one?
I can't remember.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
But in this one shot, he's sitting on a couch with another guy. It's like in the 70s. But in one of the BPRD stories, he's down there in Mexico, and he's been gone for like 6 months, and they finally send some people to go find him. Well, when they find him, he's like drunk off his ass, and he's like filming this like horror, like this wrestler movie, and he's playing like the devil. And so it's like some low budget B movie or whatever with what do you call them? Lucha Libre, wrestler guys or whatever.
Yeah, Mexican wrestlers.
And so this takes place after that story, and it's him and one of the other guys in the BPRD, and they're sitting on a couch, and it's whatever Saturday night, and it's like, oh, the late show or whatever, and he goes, well, I hope it's not, I hope it's okay. And so they sit there and watch it, and it's actually the movie that he made when he was down there.
I saw that
is on that. Yeah. And so they sit there and watch it, and so they show the movie like the comic book is the movie. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, that was a horrible movie or whatever. But I don't know. It was just kind of cool that they weave that in through different series. I feel like whoever did that
cover was trying to really make him look like
the devil.
The actor who plays Hellboy in the movies. Not the new one, but the old one.
The other one. Yeah.
That dude.
What, the dude from Stranger Things?
Yeah. No, not the other. No, the original
one,
Hellboy.
The original one.
Oh.
That I just lose his name.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. Coffin Bound.
Is this good?
No.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. It's very weird. I don't even know if it's like wordy. It's like they're almost kind of speaking a different language. Like, I don't even know what's really going on with the book. Like, they're talking in weird... So, there's this girl, the main character, and she basically is, I guess, ready to die. But she has to, go...
She's coffin bound.
She's coffin bound. So she is trying to go backwards through her life to erase everything of her, from the world. Which doesn't make any sense. But then there's another guy that used to be her, they used to be lovers or boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. Well, he hired this guy. He's called I can't remember what he's called, but basically he's like an earth. He's eats the earth, but he's like a tracker. So he's hired her to track her down and kill her. So that thing's chasing her. She's going back, going through people, different people that she has been with and just trying to erase her existence.
Yeah.
So they got this guy chasing, and then that guy, I don't know. It's...
Not your thing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it kind of is, but it's just very... Huh?
You don't know if it's your thing.
Well, I usually like weird, different things, but this thing was just kind of way out there. Even more weird and more different, and the art was cool, but it was 4 issues. The last one was oversized, thick, and then at the end it says coming back. I mean, because the story doesn't exactly end, so I mean it could go on, but it says coming back in summer of 2020. Huh. So I don't know if I'm good. You didn't buy this?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would. There's no creators I recognize, and it doesn't look very good.
Really?
Huh. Maybe Scott should read it.
He'll probably like it and make me a liar.
Well, there's another thing. No, I'm not saying I didn't like it.
No, you pretty much are.
I didn't love it, and it was a little bit confusing. But there's this.
I thought the last cover has kind of got almost like a Frank Miller though.
Yeah, I like the last cover.
Feel or something there.
The guy that she used to be with or whatever, he's a poet, so he's always writing poetry. But he runs it's almost like a strip club. It's almost like a strip club, but...
There's nudity? Come on, Drew.
I feel like the more you talk about, the less interested I am.
This was really going to freak you out. So, it's a strip club, but the thing that they do is that they put them on these... He puts the ladies or whatever, they're on, they call them, blockers or something, so they're, pain that blocks their pain. And
When they vivisect them.
yeah, they basically take a razor and they skin themselves. So they're
Okay,
really stripping. They're really burying their
It doesn't
souls.
sound very interesting.
And then they have he has a deal where, like, somehow he can wrap them in bandages and they grow their skin back. So
course he does.
they can
That
do it
makes perfect
again
sense.
every day. Like, every night they can
Okay.
cut their skin
And
off.
people pay, huh?
And people pay. It's like a lap dance.
It's
Okay.
really not like a lap.
Well, I mean, it's like a lap dance in that they go
How
into
is it?
another room and the dude pays them, and then she takes her skin off,
Hmm.
and then
I wouldn't pay
but they
for
don't
that.
do it like on the stage.
It's not something I would pay for.
It's not something they're on like the pole dancing and they skin themselves. You have to go into like a special like
Right.
lap dance room
Man.
to get your skin stripped off
All right.
Yay.
and get your jollies off that way.
That doesn't sound very jolly.
Well, it's not your thing.
Apparently not.
Apparently it is some people's thing, but
Only this made up weird world
right.
of this.
I don't know. It was odd. It was strange. It was weird.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll buy any more of it.
Okay.
What was that?
You did not
Read
sell
it.
me.
Read it with
a
your
vowel.
family.
What did that say?
It's a power is nothing by.
How much?
You got 20%,
I'm
so
good.
you're good.
Anyway,
Because you got like something else to talk about, right?
No,
Come on, what's
done.
that big book that you got there at the bottom?
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
What?
why'd you bring it out?
I read it.
Dark Minds.
Yes.
Oh, is that the Pat Lee stuff, like
Yeah,
the
it's
old
bad.
image
It's
stuff?
so bad.
It's pretty
I
bad. huh?
remember like
It's so
trying to
bad.
go to conventions and buy that stuff, and you couldn't find it anywhere.
So Dark
Really?
Minds was this Pat Lee. It's like he's trying to be like Ghost in the Shell, and he's got like this very, he's got like this very like animated style, which I
Yeah.
thought was cool back
Yeah,
in
I
the
was
day.
gonna say it's kind of a.
And I kind of liked it because it's kind of like a Blade Runner meets Ghost in the Shell meets that kind of thing, and it's
Yeah.
the art is very anime-ish, and I thought, oh, it's cool. So I bound it myself, and I screwed it way up. I like have this huge gash in the side here. I'm literally gonna throw it in the trash probably after this podcast. But
We should at least donate to like
so I was
library or
reading
something.
this. It's just so. I mean, the art. I can see why I kind of liked it back then, but when you actually look at it closer, it's really not technically very good at all. Like it's just not very well. I mean, he has good coloring, which makes it look sort of cool, but like the faces aren't consistent, and just the basic drawing is not that good.
Let me see. The
And then-
drawings. Oh, Scott's going to look at it.
And then reading it, it's just so vanilla. Like the story is just so like, like.
Well, that's when Marvel was going bankrupt.
Yeah, I know. The story is just so vanilla. There's just like
Yeah, but this is
nothing
Image.
original. It's
Oh,
it's
that's
basically
right.
just all these influences, but yes, there's nothing new to say, and it's very wordy and it just drags. Like I read about 3 or 4 issues, and I'm like, how many more left? There's 8, and there's 4 more of this. So I just skipped like ahead and kind of like skimmed it, and read just parts and stuff. It's horrible. It's just not good at all.
Did you ever read the Warland stuff?
Yeah, and I remember liking that stuff too.
Yeah,
but I bet if I
wonder.
go back that, it's horrible.
It might not be because it was more like Dungeons and Dragons stuff. It might hold up
Yeah,
better.
I don't think
know.
it will. I think that's even harder to do well. I mean, here he's just riffing on Ghost in the Shell and
Did
Blade
he
Runner.
write it and draw it?
No, he's got somebody that no one's ever heard of writing it.
I mean, did he actually draw it, or did he have like a whole team?
I'm
of
sure he has a whole
people?
team that did most of it, but I'm sure he put his name on it.
Yeah.
So
It
anyway,
was different. It was kind of
it
new
was
at the
different,
time.
I
It was-
guess.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's like
It's like
it's
the
got kind of
early,
like some
like,
Akira. I mean, there's like a
computer-generated-
gang who like are involved too. It's just not good.
I just mean like the artwork.
Yeah, I
It
understand.
was kind of new at the
Yes.
time. It's kind of like computer generated. Like,
I don't know. The pacing is bad. Just everything about it's horrible. Just
yeah. Well, it looks like there's a ton of ads in it. So
there's quite a few ads too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's bad.
every page is an ad.
It does appear that way.
And when you read those,
Must
and
be
then you
when
read something like
Image was
Locke
about
and
to go
Key,
bankrupt.
and you're like, wow, comics today are so much better than comics.
Well, even Lock and Key is back about 5 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, I just mean I think comics
This
have
is
gotten
like
so much
90s though,
better.
probably.
No, this is like early 2000s.
Early
I think.
2000s.
Wow.
I don't know. Anyway, it's total crap.
Well,
Okay.
It's not worth the paper it's printed on.
all right. Anyway,
Okay,
I'm done.
that's all I got.
well, I got
I don't have anything else.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
When you